which way to rattle. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rattle. Rick is gonna go. It's classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rattle. Rick is gonna classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rattle. Rick is gonna go. It's classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rattle. Rick is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rattle. Rick is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rattle. Rick is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rattle. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rattle. Rick is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rattle. Rick is gonna classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rattle. Rick is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rattle. Rick is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rattle. Rick is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rattle. Rick is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rattle. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rattle. Rick is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rattle. Rick is gonna classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rattle. Rick is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rattle. Rick is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rattle. Rick is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rattle. Rick is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rattle. Rick is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rattle. Rick is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rattle. Rick is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rattle. Rick is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rattle. Rick is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rattle. Rick is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rattle. Rick is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rattle. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to read. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. It's Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. It's Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. It's Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. It's Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. It's Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. It's Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. It's Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. It's Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. It's Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You You never know which way the rhetoric is going. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rap. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. It's Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rap. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rap. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic Conversations with Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rap. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. It's classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. It's classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. It's classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. It's classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo.
Mic check. What's happening, people? Y'all know what time it is. It is 8:30-ish, give or take-ish. So it's time for Classic Konversations with Jae Tea and Lo. My man Asakop had family emergency. He's not going to be able to be here. Family situation, I shouldn't say emergency. Family situation. He will be giving us a call a little later on during the show. I want you to be a part of this conversation, man. So please give us a telephone call, 404-500-1605. 404-500-1605. Keep hitting those like buttons, the like, the hugs, you can even hit the unlike. You can hit the heart button, all of those, because those help our
algorithm
go up, and that's what we keep needing to do. We want to keep going up. You understand me? So, again, be a part of this conversation, man. We start talking about some things that you want to talk about, 404-500-1605. Hoping everyone had a great Christmas, or whatever holiday you celebrate on the 25th of December. Just hoping that it was great for you. Got what you wanted to get, gave what you wanted to give, and people was appreciative of it. Angelo.
What's up, brother?
How was your week, my guy?
So, interesting. Went to Virginia, of course, for my uncle's funeral, and we talked a little bit about, and Miss Producer, I forgot what you said to talk about bad things. I don't know if it's supposed to be beginning or end. Okay, well, good. Yeah, so I'm on track.
Yeah. We're gonna get that done early.
So I heard we were talking before the show started, man, about all the folks that have passed away in this short period of time, and it's crazy because it's been so many, family, non-family, folks who you think family. My man Franco Harris, and but we're literally at my uncle's funeral, and my cousin's wife's mother, so his mother-in-law, passed away while we're
At the funeral.
at the funeral. So he literally had to leave straight from the funeral to go drive to Kansas City, Missouri.
Wow.
Yeah, by himself, 16 hours. So shout out to JJ because woof, I cried with a 4-hour drive, man. But you know, it was just a whole lot of deaths, man, in a short period of time, where a lot of different people have been impacted, right? And so then we go to Christmas Day. So, and I know MJ's gonna tell this story as well, but let me tell y'all about my Christmas Day. Now, to know me is to know I'm not really into the hoopla of Christmas. You know, everybody knows, but I don't do no shopping. People say, have you done your shopping yet? Oh, yeah, I finished mine last year. I don't do it. You know what I mean? You know, my kids, we wake up to Christmas like we woke up the day before and the day after. You know what I mean? There's no shaking. There's no none of that stuff. And I'm happy about that because my oldest is 20 and they've never asked for a Christmas gift, and because we've never done it. We've never focused on it, ever. You know what I mean? And so it's just normal in my household, you know? But what Christmas has all been about in my family, in my household, is family, right? Spend time with family. You do family stuff. So this year, Mom said we're going to do family brunch so that everybody can enjoy their evening on their own, whatever you're going to cook, whatever house you go to, but we're going to do the brunch at the house. So go to the house for brunch, man. So, guys, I found out on Sunday, December 25th, that I'm now allergic to cherries. My mom had fresh fruit. I ate 3 cherries. By the time I threw the seed away for that third cherry, my mouth and my ears were itching beyond belief. Now, I can't eat strawberries anymore, and I love strawberries. I can't eat any melons, watermelons. That's been my case, because all those things make my mouth itch. But never has this happened. I'm sitting there on the sofa, talking with my mom and my sister. My ears itching like crazy. And I started looking crazy because I felt like I was looking crazy. And my sister said, "You okay?" I said, "No, not really." I said, "My ears are itching like crazy." I said, "But it's getting worse inside." She said, "Is your throat closing up?" I said, "Yes. My throat is closing up rapidly."
As I sit here.
As I sit here, my throat is literally closing up. I'm talking about, I'm trying to swallow. I'm like, hey, this isn't right. So I stand up. I'm like walking around the living room. I walk outside. My mom they're like, "What's wrong?" She said, "He need to go get some air." So I'm outside trying to breathe. Hey, listen, I'm trying to breathe.
And it was cold, too.
Bro, I was out there like with a jacket. I had no jacket on, nothing. I'm just trying to breathe. And so finally, I just jump in my car. So my son come around and said, "Dad, you need me to take you?" I said, "I'm gone." Hey, man, I got in that car. I pulled out there so fast, man. I went straight to the emergency room. I could not. Hey, man, my throat was literally closing up. I'm like, I'm at a traffic light, like, "Oh, so now you want to be red? This street's never red."
Wow.
Hey, bro. Man. So, needless to say, I spent about, 4 or 5 hours in the emergency room on Christmas. That was how I spent majority of my Christmas afternoon. But I'm alive to tell the story.
Wow, bro.
Because when I say I never just straight panicked, but I was like, something's not right. And I got to go do something about it. And I don't go to the emergency room. Wow. I was like, I got to do something about this right now. But when I went outside, and as cold as it was on Christmas, I couldn't even feel the cold. I was like, hey, man, I'm just trying to swallow. And nothing in this, like, it was hard. It was like a little tiny window to go down that was left. You just feel the joker just closing and closing. Woo! So, yeah, That was my Christmas. Thank you. Happy to be here.
Wow, bro.
True story.
I wasn't ready for all that.
Yeah. I said I was gonna say this one for the show, man, because I was like, yeah, true story, man. This happened.
I was not ready for that one.
Yeah, man. I spent the rest of the afternoon, and then they messed around and they were gonna put me on the IV, and yeah, it was bad. They were gonna put me on the IV, but I guess the nurse kind of looked at my little face. I was like, IV. You know what I mean? So she said, "What do you do the pill for?" But man, I hate Benadryl because Benadryl puts me out.
Yeah.
And it did again, boy. I was in the hospital, just my head I was all over the place, but yeah, it worked itself out, man. I was good after that. So yeah. No more cherries in my life. I'm officially retired from cherries. I'm down to grapes, banana, oranges, and pineapple. That's all I got left. Only fruits I can eat now. Ain't that sad? That's it.
No oranges, no apples.
Oranges, no apples. I can't eat apples. Apples make me itch immediately.
God.
Immediately. Yeah. No peaches. None. Listen, I'm down to those 4. That's it. I can't eat no more fruit. That's it.
And got to be on standby as you start eating those. The older you get, your system,
Ain't that depressing?
it comes down.
Depressing.
So you just don't know when this,
That's my brother keeps saying. He get your EpiPen. I said, no, I'm not getting an EpiPen.
man,
It was just the first time.
Hey, people tell me I need one too. I'm not good at it. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. I'm the same way with shellfish. Everybody keeps saying, "You got EpiPen?" No, I don't. I just tell.
I guess it's between EpiPen or just carrying Benadryl around. But with that Benadryl, I gotta have a driver. Cause that Benadryl ain't no joke, man. When I say and just on another note, I yet to understand how people like to be high. How do you be excited about being high when you have no control of yourself? How is that exciting to be high? I don't get it.
But it's crazy that you said
I
that.
hate it.
Because when you were saying about you couldn't swallow, when I had some edibles, that's where I was. I couldn't swallow. It is the worst feeling
Really?
in the world. You're just sitting there and you cannot swallow. And it wasn't that my throat. I could not. I was that high.
Really?
Wow.
I don't know how you do it, man. I hate not being in control of my, you know what I mean? When that Benadryl, man, I'm just so whoopy. I'm just like, man.
We have to make that into a conversation about, what do people get out of getting high?
To be high or to not to be high? That is the question.
That's going to be a pretty good show.
How was your week, brother?
Well, I mean, in comparison, brother, mine was A-okay. It was a good week, man. You know what? It was a good week up until, this is crazy, but Christmas Day, the day after Christmas, and today. We said we like to get the sad stuff out of the way. Hey, Reggie, what's up, bro? Happy holidays to you also. It was a good week, just chilling. Me and my wife decided not to go crazy on gifts to the point of where it was no gifts. We decided to enjoy the gift that we've already purchased for ourselves, the house.
I know that's right. Great gift.
Between your houses, birthdays, we just decided to chill. Buying cars, we decided to chill. Shout out to my wife. She cooked like a grandmother for Christmas Day. I mean, she went all in, even made, cornbread and all types of stuff, man. I mean, my son, my nephew, everybody was like, wait, your wife did that? My auntie did that? She was cooking like that? I was like, yeah, man, she went in. She went all the way in. But then on Christmas Day, man, I'm talking to my son. My son called me. And his girlfriend's, he went over to his girlfriend's dad's house, and her grandfather passed away on Christmas Day. So he was trying to navigate through it. He doesn't like death. You know, when you're that young, you really hadn't dealt with it too much. You know, so he doesn't like death, and he was trying to navigate through it, being there for her. Her dad was really leaning on him type of deal, you know, because he was being powerful for the family, but he was leaning on my son to be powerful for him type of deal. So he was trying to navigate through that. He was actually sitting in the car, you know, saying he just had to get out so he could talk, but he didn't want to leave because he wanted to be there, you know. So trying to navigate him through that. Then the day after Christmas, actually the day after Christmas was pretty cool. Kicked back all day, sat in my robe, and looked at Yellowstone all day. And then my neighbor came over and we kicked it, smoked some cigars. But then today, I get a call from my mom. Actually, she sends me a prayer every morning. She sent a prayer, said that she couldn't send the prayer because she was having problems actually concentrating because she was feeling so bad. So she goes to the doctor. She comes home, and now she's got COVID again. And I think this is her third time.
Really?
And she's one of those mothers that's busy, you know, like to help this person, help that person. And everything that she does, she feels is God's work. So you can't tell her, you know, maybe you should sit this one out. You know, she's covered under the cloth of Jesus. So, you know, ain't nothing I can say to get her to slow down. You can't stop that.
Right.
You know, she went out to feed the homeless on Christmas Day. She was already feeling bad. And then today, she comes up with COVID. So I got that earlier. Then out of the blue, I get a text message in a group text. So my friends said, you know, I'll get you guys some more news in a little while, but he passed out. They found him unconscious 2 hours ago, and he passed away. We'll get you some more details later. So I'm looking at the text. But the last time we used this group text was like 8 months ago. So I'm like, what is he talking about? I said, man, what are you talking about? This is back, a friend of ours passed away. Now, his mother is his ex-wife, the mother of his children, passed away last year at this time.
Wow.
His mom just passed away 2 weeks ago, and he passes away today. He's 53 years old.
Wow.
And just this morning also, I was texting some other cats, looking into vitamins and looking into different things that I want to do in the year, the little small things about getting more rest, you know, cutting back on all of this stuff. Not quitting it, but cutting back on all of this stuff. Just trying to, you know, be more, I guess you could say, more healthy, just probably not like a health nut. And then to find out somebody 53 years old passes over, they find him unconscious and he passes away. So, you know, it messed with me. So my week was great all last week from the show right on up until, you know, Christmas evening, dealing with, you know, just trying to make sure my son was navigating through that part right. And then today, man, a 53-year-old brother was unconscious, and now his two kids, I think one is 21, one is 23, have no parents within a year. And it just, you know, it's like, I'm sure that your situation just put things on pause for a minute and make you think a little bit about different things, didn't it?
Of course.
Now,
Absolutely.
just certain things, and it's happening here at the end of the year. And yeah, you know, everybody says, you know, why you got to make New Year's resolutions? You know, you should change whenever you want to change. But there's still something that you can use as a barometer to get things started. And, you know, when stuff like this happen towards the end of the year, just make you, of course, you're thankful, you know, that you're still here to talk about these situations. But then also just it helps you to look at certain things and things that you need to change, you know, tweak up a little bit so that you can be a better you know, going forward, you know, that type of deal. So, you know, other than that, man, the week was great. Like I said, Christmas was good. Got the first time I got to sit in my theater room and look at movies and basketball all day long. I gained about 6 pounds. So I'll be going on a diet again. after the new year.
North Carolina beat Michigan too, man. I was so hoping to be able to call you and be able to be like, yeah, we got y'all again, but y'all got us this time.
I was gonna bring that up. I meant to actually put a bet on it last week on the show. Right after we got off the show, that's the first thing I said. Man, I forgot to tell Angelo, let's put a cigar on this thing. But yeah, I was gonna bring that up a little later. I didn't even, I was gonna wear my North Carolina thing. I was like, I ain't gonna rub it in his face already. Give him a little time. Give him a little time. So. Sugar Sean, brother, how you doing, man?
Hey, yo, I'm all right, girl. I know not to hang out with y'all with Christmas, because that shit sound crazy. Angelo got his cherry pop.
Cherry pop.
Literally. He's like, what am I gonna do? I was like, what? Yeah, that's insane.
True story, brother.
Yeah, that's insane. But Christmas was good for me, man. We had a great time. The family had a good time. I got some nice appreciation gifts. It was really nice. I mean, nobody died on my side. Everybody was chilling out. About to leave in a few. I got to leave here early because I'm about to head to Mexico. My brother's wedding. Yeah. So, we just been chilling, man. Just been enjoying the holidays.
Your flight still good?
I don't know. Well, I'm going to get there. We're going to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, these flights been canceling, boy.
They canceling everything.
Bro.
Yeah, they got 1 million people at the airport right now.
Yeah, real talk.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
That's what's up, man. Yeah, it's been interesting. Interesting Christmas holiday for sure.
Is your
very
mic
interesting.
Okay,
very interesting.
Yeah, no doubt.
For y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I'm only allergic to horses, so there ain't gonna be no horses at Christmas for me. So
I did get to go see Missy Elliott Boulevard. That was kind of cool when I was in Virginia.
that's
what I mean?
Right. Only out in Missy and
Yeah, they did the little thing over there. It's right over by the new casino, man. They actually gonna have a casino in Portsmouth, Virginia, man. It's just for people from Virginia, it's just really amazing to think about. But they're gonna have a casino in Portsmouth, Virginia, man. It's just bananas to think about. It's almost done.
Right.
It's gonna be open. It's gonna be open sometime next year.
Timberland from Virginia. You got some good people from that area.
Oh yeah, got a list of got a long list.
Yeah, Michael Vick.
Yeah, Allen Iverson. There's a long list from there.
Lonzo Mourning.
What's my man? What's the quarterback used to be for the Saints? It was Michael Vick's cousin.
Aaron Brooks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. That
Portsmouth
area
from Virginia. Or Layla Hathaway.
I don't know if they're from there.
I listen to a lot of Christmas songs.
Mike Tomlin.
That's something that I did not hear.
Miss Allen earlier.
I did not hear a lot of Christmas songs this year.
I had it on Soulful Christmas on series. Well, what? We was singing in the car.
And I think it was the simple fact that me and my wife decided not to really do Christmas. So we didn't put up no Christmas nothing.
Yeah.
I put up a little small tree about
like that.
Because I actually did buy her a couple of gifts, small gifts, and put up a little tree on Christmas Day.
Gifts. The small gifts expensive.
Well, especially when they were the only ones, it's really expensive.
1 year, man, when I lived in when I was a police officer, I had a Christmas tree on the back of my wall. Did you hear what I just said? Yeah, I had one of those little sticky things
on the side of the wall.
Where you throw a little thing on there and stick. Yeah.
He on fire today, right? he on fire.
Hey man,
yeah,
when you can't swallow,
you got stuff to think about.
You just start having a good time.
Yeah. I know that's right.
He's like, I can breathe.
Yo. I know that's right.
My mom used to wrap gifts for ornaments.
Hold up, my wife said, "Tell Sean he looks so handsome," until he put that cigarette in his mouth.
Shots fired. Yeah, I'm gonna quit eventually.
Roy, what's up, bro? Roy hollered out at us. I think he's on mine.
My Facebook not working on my iPhone for some reason. It's very, very frustrating. It won't load. They says a memory thing, so I cleared out half my memory.
And then it
does it anyway. It did an update and rearranged all my apps, which is driving me crazy because I'm such a science. I mean, I know what stuff is at. Man, don't move nothing. They move my apps. Everything's crazy.
They moved you in the hospital?
No, in the hospital. What are you talking about?
I don't know. You popped your cherry. I don't know what they took your apps.
Sounds like an Apple problem to me.
Yeah, you can't have an Apple phone.
But Facebook won't. It just circles.
You learned the Apple phones too.
So you got a phone, Apple phones.
That's funny. Maybe that's what it is, huh?
Yeah, that's what it is. You learned the
Apple.
You
guys are characters, man. Hey, we about to take a break, man. Take us a break, JT.
Hey man, we get here to go to break. But hold on. Before we go to break, let's do this now.
Go for it.
No, we're gonna do is come back. We're gonna talk about Ed Reed. We'll do that when we come back because we're gonna do it in a different way. So.
Yeah.
We'll be right back. Give us 5 minutes, man.
2 minutes. There you go. Man, yourself, family. What is that?
Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to read. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is going. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to read. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to read. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. Classic know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to read. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo.
Yes, we are back. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo.
And Ask a Cop.
And again, Ask the Cop.
Shout out to my man MJ.
Had a family situation, but he'll be calling in a little later this evening. You know, he's missed the last couple of weeks for something that was real. But tonight is real, but, you know, we needed your prayers the last 2 weeks. He's a lot better right now. I plan on being here, but he had to take care of some business.
He's looking forward to telling his story.
Yeah, he got a story about Christmas also. So I guess we'll get that when he get a call.
That's it. That's it.
So listen, man, we have some topics we're gonna go into, but before we get there, Classic Conversations actually had a conversation about Deion Sanders when he, you know, left Jackson State, went to Colorado. You know, we had a difference of opinions up here. One of the things that was said, though, we did say that people should, you know, follow the blueprint, and what we were saying is that, you know, hopefully that some of these black coaches that's coaching at a high level in high school or that's coaching in the pros or in college at an assistant level, you know, that has name recognition can actually go and start applying for some of these jobs at some of the HBCUs. Well, actually today, Ed Reed from the Baltimore Ravens, University of Miami Hurricanes, has actually accepted a head coaching position at Bethune-Cookman.
Hall of Fame, Ed Reed.
You're right, Hall of Fame Ed Reed now.
Respect on that name.
Yeah.
Nobody ever gonna be late to his practice because he was crazy. Ed was crazy.
I know Ed. I've kicked it with him in the cigar world a couple of times. He's
come to Uptown a few times.
Yeah, he's a DJ by name. You know, he kind of gets up there in the DJ booth. I'm glad he's coaching because DJing wasn't his. He was a Hall of Famer up there. Yeah. People was just dancing, then they have to stop, figure out what he was playing, then start again. But for real, man, he's actually the head coach of Bethune-Cookman, and he has a resume. So this is different than what Tennessee State did with Eddie George. They hired Eddie George based on name recognition alone, and it didn't work because they kept losing. But you want the name recognition, but you actually want these guys to help the players get better. Shout out to Deion Sanders for that. Ed Reed was a defensive backs coach for the Buffalo Bills in 2016. He was an advisor to the head coach at the University of Miami in 2020. And then 2022, which is early this year, he was hired as the chief of staff at Miami before, of course, now taking on this position. I'm just hoping that people see, evidently somebody at Bethune-Cookman saw the Classic Conversation show because they actually followed the blueprint that Deion left behind. You know, they followed it to a T, you know. So, you know, shout out on that, man. I'm really, really excited to see what happens with that. You know, let's face it, we hadn't heard a lot from Bethune-Cookman. I'm trying to think the last time we heard of some of them.
I didn't even know they still exist.
It's been a
Now,
minute.
Bethune's in the MEAC, though, right? Are they in the MEAC?
Yeah.
Bethune-Cookman.
Yeah.
So, you know, here's what I want to say, right? You know, we talk about Deion Sanders. You know, everybody had it. Like you said, everybody had their own opinions, whatever. Should he have left? Should he have left? Did he leave? You know, and I was of the opinion that, you know, like we just said, having a blueprint. If other people follow the blueprint, you have other athletes. But here's something I've been thinking about the last few days with Deion Sanders. Is that after that, I think Deion, even in a loss, has helped elevate the HBCU recognition, right? Now, let me tell you how I'll say that. In the loss he took, he was clearly outcoached again. 2 years in a row, he was outcoached. But what I felt was it brought so much more recognition to the other coach. What school was that?
North Carolina
North Carolina Central. It brought so much recognition to that coach and that coach's ability. And they talked about that coach's resume and how he's been nothing but successful as a head coach in all his different places. And he came from a pedigree of coaching, you know. So even in a loss, I think Deion still made a splash with the HBCU community.
He did well.
You know what I mean? because he still brought recognition to other coaches. I'm sure he didn't want to lose, but I thought it brought more recognition to these coaches and to show that there are some good coaches in the HBCU ranks who just aren't given opportunities. And none of those coaches can acknowledge that they want to be coaches in that realm for their entire career, but opportunities don't open themselves up.
Right.
And beating a Deion Sanders has put that guy, his name is going to be mentioned across different boards. You know what I mean? And then some of the coaches that Deion has brought on with him.
His name is Trey Oliver.
Trey Oliver, yep.
He's actually 20 years of college coaching experience. It includes 5 conference championships and 3 black college national football titles. But, just as you're saying, outside of the HBCU community, nobody really heard. Not saying that he didn't deserve to be, his name didn't deserve to be, shouted out and everybody should have heard about it. But before that, you really didn't. Just like South Carolina State last year, I think the same thing happened.
Absolutely. And that was OG coach last year.
Yeah. This
He
guy
been out
here,
for a minute.
20 years of coaching, but he's a younger coach.
Young cat.
South Carolina State, man, you talking about, he probably was coaching when Walter Payton was playing.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been there for a minute. Yeah.
No, but that's real.
And Trey won as a player, a national championship as a player as well. So I just thought that was interesting, man, even in a loss. And but on another note, man, I just found I coached this kid, Kason Wiseman, in baseball, dynamic athlete. Played at South Paulding High School, signed with Kansas. I noticed on his Facebook post, he said, I have withdrawn my offer from Kansas. And I read early that morning, he was being recruited by one Deion Sanders. So now Kason just posted, he signed with Colorado. I thought it was cool as a fan, man. You know what I mean? Yeah, I coached this kid, man. That kid just signed as quarterback. And it's a smart move because he's going under Shador. Well, Shador only got 2 years left.
So he go redshirt.
And if Shador show out this year,
That's right.
he can leave.
That's right.
And you right there. Smart move, Casey.
If he redshirt this year,
Yeah.
see next year he'll be a redshirt freshman.
Yeah.
Nah, but that's why Deion shed light. That's why I mess with Deion prime time, man.
Yeah, prime time, man.
Yeah, prime time did a lot. Prime time got the black colleges, everybody watching now, seeing what's gonna happen next. It's just real.
Yeah,
and he got the kids coming
like I
to
said,
Colorado.
But Ed Reed probably does not take this job of Bethune-Cookman without the influence of Deion.
Absolutely, because somebody won't be the next.
He probably don't take that job.
Yeah.
Grambling. Yeah.
Oh, that's right, Hugh Jackson, right?
Hugh Jackson.
Yeah, Hugh Jackson, and that's what you want to happen, man. And I know there's a lot of HBCU alums that don't want us saying that this helped, but it's an argument I refuse to have with anybody, because if you look at it through an overall lens, you'll see it. You'll see where the help came.
Take the hate out, and you'll see.
You
Right.
right. Yeah,
You'll see it.
you can't tell them nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Got to. No, Roy, you ain't called. Roy want to call in.
Lord sent him a text message this time.
Roy, I knew. Look. Oh, here you go. Look. Yeah, Buddy Pugh, you're right. Buddy Pugh was South Carolina State. He is a legend. And he said people need to stop saying that Deion left a blueprint. He did not. No swag.
He went to HBCU. Didn't he?
Like I said,
No
Don't
swag.
argue with nobody from HBCU, man. They take that so offensive.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll be like, yo, I ain't even gonna have the conversation, man. They just what's real is real. I mean, look, he shined a light that a lot of people wasn't paying attention to, and now they paying attention, and now they gonna be watching, and let's see what happens.
Like I
Now
said,
just gotta keep it going.
Like I said, I just hope that the light stays there. That's the first thing I said once I heard he was leaving. I was just like, I just hope that these television contracts stay and they get renewed and it keeps going and we keep seeing these games. Yes, I know that HBCU games were on TV, but let's face it, they weren't on national TV as much
Exactly.
before Deion Sanders.
I want to see Terrell Owens get a head coach job. Terrell Owens should get a job.
I would love that.
He's
Terrell
still
versus
working
Ocho
out to
Cinco.
be in the league.
He need to stop. He need to go get a. He need to coach HBCU.
I'll say this.
That'd be
You know,
dope.
It'd be dope.
like I said, a week.
Get a microphone, Dwayne. You know he can hear you.
I got. I'm on.
Okay.
A week removed from the situation, looking at all his interviews, listening to what he's saying, listening to you, Lo. He helped. It ain't no doubt about it. And we as a people have to understand help in any level is good. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, even the hate he's getting, you know, it just shines a light. You know what I'm saying? And I think that what people have to realize is, you know, we can't put all our faith in one person. We got to put our faith in multiple people. So that's why you said the Eddie Georges, the Ed Reeds, the Hugh Jacksons. Those are the people that we have to put our faith in because, like you said, their calling ain't his calling ain't their calling.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate Deion for the time that he spent, cause he like you said he could have left. He could have left probably after 2 years, to be honest with you. So yeah, man, thank you for your service. You know.
That's what's up.
He in the military.
No, that's real talk, man. That's real talk. I mean, because, you know, even when I listened to his interview with Shannon Sharp the other day, you know what I mean? When he talked about how he took all those kids when he was coaching the youth football. He took 3 bus loads of kids to the Hall of Fame. All the things he did on his dime that folks never talked about, never shined about, and he ain't looked for it. Is what he did. You know what I mean? But to knock the man for trying to go to another level, I just think is, anyway.
When he was doing that,
Shout out Prime Time. You still my guy.
it is. He my guy, prime time. But once he came back into the limelight and became prime time again, and that's where the hate started coming. Because, you know, Deion he's a different kind of character. So there's just like, it's like almost people looking for him to fail. Like, we our biggest haters sometimes. Like, let him shine. He's shining.
Most of the time.
Sometimes.
Most of the time. Like,
Most of the time.
Let a man shine and let him shine. Let him do what
That's a
he's
whole
doing.
nother conversation.
Yeah. Write that one down.
Yeah.
That's another
Yeah,
conversation.
All right, what we got, man? We don't stay too tough on Deion. Good job, Deion. Shout out Ed Reed. Congratulations, brother.
Yes.
See that Phoenix?
Hope many more. Hope many more to come. Hope many more to come. You know,
They ain't gonna blame me this week. Yeah. See that jump? Yeah, I heard him.
All right, man. So one of the topics we're gonna talk about tonight, man, the struggle in raising kids. You know, a lot of times people tell us, you know, you don't want your child to have to go through what you went through. You want your child to have better than what you had. But the question comes is it better to show our children the struggle so that once the struggle does come up in their life, they're actually better prepared for it? Or is it better to give your children everything that they had, everything that they need and a little bit more, and make sure that they do not see or feel the struggle? Now, when you do that, will that handicap your children if a situation does come up when a mental toughness is needed within that struggle? Now, when I say struggle, we're always not talking about being poor, not having money.
Exactly.
There's a lot of different things that could be a struggle in. It could just be something stressful. It could be dealing with somebody that's trying to bring you down while you're trying to go above. You know, any struggle needs a certain mental toughness to get through. So with that being said, go ahead, Sean, what you think?
Nah, I think I'm glad you made that point about struggle.
Oh, one sec. Dwayne, I know some people that wanted to talk on this topic. Put the phone number up, 404-500-1605.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, what you mentioned about struggle, right? Because it's not just poverty, but everybody deals with adversity, right? So when you see what's going on with even with Master P and Romeo, right? He gave his son everything, right? And then son, he said, I gave you the blueprint. I showed you how to do everything. You went and got your own team. It ain't working out for you. Now you blaming it on me. That's crazy. So it's like one thing the kid never got was to understand that you're going to have to fail in life. And that's why I'm a big proponent of you can still give your kids things, but you got to put them in sports. That's for me. I like sports Because sports, you're gonna deal with these type of emotions. You're gonna deal with bad games. You're gonna deal with, losing. You're gonna, how you come out of that. Not when you're great, but how do you do when you and everything's not going your way? Do you fold? And I try to make sure that, you talk to these kids in a way that remember that feeling, because that feeling's gonna come again in a different way in life. You understand? So to answer your question, everyone's gonna struggle in some type of way, but you gotta try to build a mindset. That's why I keep saying, I tell my kids all the time, you great and believe you the greatest. You understand? Because I can't believe it more for you than you can for yourself.
Can I offer a caveat to your Master P and Romeo's conversation? You saying that he gave him everything, and him as an adult knowing that he didn't receive everything, can he not say what place he's coming from? Like, because
Romeo?
Yeah. And that's what I want you to understand, Sean. You saying he gave him everything, but obviously he doesn't feel that way. Because if he felt that way, he would express that. He was able to express himself several times on what he was talking about. And what I'm saying is, with that situation, maybe that was too much control. I don't think it was he didn't raise him or he was wrong. He's saying he gave his dad too much control. He's saying that he wasn't able to see the checks. He was giving him access to everything, and he wasn't getting the information back. So for you to say that he is wrong, I don't believe he's wrong. If he sees it that way, as a man at the age that he's at, he can have that opinion of what happened because he actually went through it. So I don't think that I'm really kind of touchy on that, because I really think that Master P is wrong, because I think that Romeo sees it from his angle as an adult with the child. So like I said, he's seeing it from a different perspective, and he's seeing and saying that, hey man, I might have gave you too much control, because you having so much control, I wasn't able to see the money and residuals on the things that we work together on as a family. Rap Snacks is a family.
Go ahead.
It's a family snack.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so it gets to a point like this. The man is a 34-year-old man, right? 34-year-old man, right? You in the music industry, right? And if you listen to when did he take accountability for himself and his own failures? All right? Because he's only in the industry because of what his pops gave to him, what his pops showed him, what his pops taught him, right? So if you listen to what Master P said, he said at this point, because things ain't working out for you, don't try to knock me. If you needed help or you need some money, just come to me. We could talk it out and we could figure it out, and I'll be able to try to help you out. So you gotta be a man at some point as an adult and say to yourself that you made a mistake.
I'm answering
your question.
What ways have he failed?
I'm asking you way who failed. Master P ain't failed.
You said that Romeo failed.
Romeo failed because Romeo is upset at the fact that he feels like all the projects and things that he was doing with his team ain't work out, right? And that's what's been going on, and that's what's been said, right? So at the end of the day, when does Romeo, as a man, take accountability and not looking back and say, oh, my daddy ain't do this, or my daddy ain't do that, or my daddy ain't do that, instead of just saying, yo, I made a mistake, shit ain't working out for me. That's the problem. You gotta grow. At some point, you gotta be accountable for yourself. It's like a kid saying, I ain't had no dad. So everything that happened in their life, they blame it on not having a father when things go wrong. That's the wrong way to go around life, right? Because at the end of the day, you got to be accountable for your mistakes, yourself, and that's it. And he should be happy that he still got somebody to go to.
Sean, what mistakes have Romeo made? He went to college. He has a successful career as an entertainer.
He's complaining about his money is drained because
Let me finish. He's an actor. He's recently been on Growing Up Hip Hop for the last 5-6 seasons. That's a check. So what he said, because I don't think you heard what he said in his stake with Rap Snacks, he has not received any residuals in endeavors he's done, his business, his music. He has not received residuals because his dad is his manager and controls the money.
Okay, but
That's what he
Romeo's
said.
saying he ain't got no money.
So this is what I'm saying. So how is he at fault for saying that he's allowing his dad to control his money and he hasn't received any of it?
So how is
he at fault?
I'm gonna tell you how he's at fault. How he's at fault is, yo, Dad, let's sit down, let's have a conversation, right? Not let me get on the internet and start doing all of this other stuff, right? Let you and me have an in-house conversation about what's going on, and then we could take it from there.
You say that as if you saying that he didn't have that conversation.
Master P said it.
How do you know? You don't know.
That's what Master P said. And how do you know he
house?
didn't?
You don't know their house.
But you go, but the
Master
way
P
that
said
right there, though.
I'm just saying.
No, I'm saying right, but right there you're going. Well, because you saying you don't know that based on what Master P said, but you don't know that based on what Romeo said either.
Correct.
So you got to take it both ways.
I'm saying to say that only thing I was saying that Sean automatically blamed Romeo, and I was saying that I don't know what it is. Romeo has his view of it. So
Well, I think what Sean did was make a comparison and saying somebody like Romeo who has been given an opportunity at life for his entire life, and so now to come back as an adult and blame your father for something, you know what I mean? It's, you got to ask that question because he was given everything. It's not like Romeo has ever had to truly work
this
work a day in his life. You know what I mean?
This is what this is about because
right.
I get the business side of it. I get it. It's between them. That's a hard comparison, but you actually brought it down to where it's a good comparison because from what we know on the outside looking in, Romeo ain't never had to do nothing. The only reason he got to college on a college basketball scholarship was because he was good friends with what's my name? DeMar DeRozan.
Right.
So it's not like Romeo, he was given everything without seeing a struggle. Right. So now that there's a type of struggle, whether it's financial, whether it's business, whatever the struggle is that he's going through, he's never seen it or had to deal with it or feel it. So now he's not able to actually grasp it and deal with it because he was actually sheltered from it.
He did.
He was sheltered from that type of stuff.
He didn't get out the mud.
Right. He ain't been in the mud.
You saw the video. Master P said, this is an example of I gave him everything and I shouldn't have gave him everything. And he was just like, if you have a problem, if you had an issue, you could come down, we could talk this out. He said, you lost your sister, I lost my daughter. And he said, we all going through something right here. And why are you putting this out here for everybody when you know you can come talk to me? And that's where I don't respect Romeo.
Well, see, that's where not showing your child how to deal with the struggle like that, they do it the only way that they know how right now.
That's terrible.
They go to Twitter. If you don't have any reason growing up to actually have to go and sit down and talk to your parents, when it comes time to where you probably should, you probably don't know how to do that. So it actually, at first I was thinking, man, we get way off track. But actually it brings it right back around to what I'm saying is, you're not showing them, letting them feel the struggle. And so because they can't feel the struggle, they don't know how to deal with it. And they deal with it in the only way that they know how, which is what they've actually seen on TV and all that type of stuff. We got a caller? Okay, we wasn't going to break, but go ahead, caller.
What's going on, fellas? This is Roy.
What's happening?
And I did call in to talk about this subject, so don't worry about it. I ain't just it's interesting. It's interesting hearing that because it's a situation that has actually been happening since the 60s. Because our parents did the same thing. They didn't want us to have to grow up with the struggles that they had and the things that they were dealing with. I think the biggest difference between when we were growing up and now is kind of what JT was just saying. It's I hate to use the term, but it's really about technology and the access to information and the ability to do different things. Because when we still, to a certain level, we still had to come up and get it. We had to figure out, our parents may have been college educated, but there weren't very many parents who had the ability to pass down wealth to their children or to even raise their children in wealth. So, people may have been well off, but you still had to. We still in our generation, we still had to go out and get it. I'm gonna give you your guy on the producer. I keep forgetting my man's name.
Sean.
But I'm gonna give you a couple of things about it. You know, Rap Snacks, they were just endorsers of Rap Snacks when Rap Snacks came out. A lot of people don't realize that. I knew the guy who started Rap Snacks. They were just putting the celebrities on the bag to sell the chips. Is all they were doing. That's all they would have gotten royalties from anyway. They wouldn't have necessarily gotten them from the different sales of it and stuff. It was just the bags that they did their faces on. When was the last time that Romeo been on a bag of Rap Snacks? You know, I mean, so you talk about it. That's what I think my man Sean was saying.
Every year.
His situation is, you're saying he's got all this stuff that he's done. How much of his stuff has been successful is the question. And what has his recourse been when his stuff wasn't successful? Did he call his dad and be like, "Pop, let's sit down and let me talk about how it was when you were selling your music out the trunk, and you was doing this here and you were doing that there"? Or did he just be like, "Let me throw some more money at this because that's how I'm gonna fix it"? Because that's what I've always seen, and that's what a lot of these celebrity kids have the situation with. I give kudos to two people individual, and I'm gonna say Shaq and I'm gonna say Denzel Washington, because they have openly said to their children, "No, I'm rich," especially their sons. They made that point perfectly clear. "No, I'm rich. You got to go out and get it." John David Washington had to learn that the hard way, because I know I got a little story when he was at Morehouse and he was playing football. He got mad because his dad called the coach and be like, "Yo, his grades ain't right. Pull him off the team." And he thought that he was going to be able to get away with it. And he was like, "Bro, look here. Your dad is the one paying your bills. You ain't paying your stuff." So if he did it, you know, and what that did is that made him man up. And he had to start looking at his entire college career differently and realizing that, okay, I still have to go out and get it. Now, has his name probably opened some doors for him? Yes, it has. But he has still now gone out and done the work to get there and to stay there in the places that he is now. Because I'm going to tell you, your boy, is Romeo Shad Moss? That's Shad Moss, right? Or is that the other one, Bow Wow?
It's Bow Wow.
That's Bow Wow. Okay, so Romeo, so yeah, I'm trying to get the names correct. But because I remember, if I'm not mistaken, he was actually on a major television show on a network. I know one of them where I thought it was Romeo, but I could be wrong. But you know, you threw out that he's on a reality show. That's more of the same dysfunction that he's engaged in now. That's the kind of stuff, just like JT said. He doesn't. Those shows across the board have shown one thing about black people. It makes you think that we don't have no idea on how to handle conflicts without our hands and our fists. That's what reality TV has shown everybody about black people. When was the last time you saw somebody on a reality TV show sit down and have a conversation about a disagreement they had? You don't.
Look, they usually do it after the first 3 fights. Sometimes after 2 fights. they get there.
Yeah, reality TV.
You said they get there right.
They get there.
But that one little one, they do it, and then but you don't get it. So I think these kids, man, nowadays, like, you know, JT, you used a great point. You got to be able to go sit down and talk to your parent and say, "Listen, I've got this issue. You know, I need to understand what I need to do." Because it's one thing if he does this at 22. Because at 22, you still haven't lived a lot. You still haven't done a lot. You're still learning, so I can see you lashing out. But dude over 30 years old at this point.
There you go.
You have lived enough of an adult life to where you should have some knowledge about understanding of how you fix problems. That says to me that you have had no problem solving, learning, teaching, or anything other than throwing money at stuff. And that's one of the biggest problems that our quote unquote celebrity young people with celebrity parents have, especially black ones. They have never had to deal with the reality of life being able to solve a problem without just throwing money at it. And now he doesn't know how to do it. Like I said, you talked about what he do. What has Romeo done in the past? What do we know of that's public that Romeo has done that has made him more money? I'm gonna give you an example of why I'm saying that. Because you look at Ray J. Ray J was a horrible singer. He had 2 songs that was able to get out there and make him some money. And what did he go do? He went and started a celebrity line of sunglasses and a line of earphones that people love. He went out there and got it. He did that. He took the celebrity he had and he went and used it to create something positive. What has Romeo done like that? Outside of the rap stacks, where he was on the bag. What has Romeo produced to do so, to say that he should? What does he produce? That's really the question.
Dwayne said he had the Lil Romeo show on Nickelodeon for a couple of years.
No, that was from his daddy. Back up.
Let's not get it wrong.
That was something from his daddy.
Oh, wait. Hold on. You ain't got no mic. Get the mic if you want. But hold up. Listen.
Hold on.
We're not saying that, and nobody is saying that Romeo hasn't done anything. Yeah, I think y'all are getting off the point. Wait. The point is, his parent did not let him feel any struggle when he was younger. Y'all all the way on Romeo ain't done nothing. No, the thing is, right now he's having some type of conflict. I don't know what it's with. I don't know if it's with finances. I don't know if it's just with somebody told him no. I don't know what it is. But he doesn't know how to deal with it because growing up, he never had to deal with anything.
Great segue. Go to commercial. We'll be right back.
And we'll be right back. Roy, if you want to call back in, call back in.
Hold tight, Roy.
Classic Konversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap. Classic Konversations. You never know which way to rap and where you gonna go. Classic Konversations with Jae Tea and Lo. Classic Konversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap and where you gonna go. Conversation with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap and classic conversation with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap and where you gonna go. Classic conversation with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap and where you gonna go. Classic conversation with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap and where you gonna go. Classic conversation with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap and where you go. Classic conversation with Jae Tea and Lo. Classic conversation with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap. Classic conversation with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap and where you gonna go. Classic conversation with Jae Tea and Lo. Classic conversation with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap and where you gonna go. Classic conversation with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap and classic conversation with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap and where you gonna go. Classic conversation with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap and where you gonna go. Classic conversation with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap and where you gonna go. Classic conversation with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap and where you go. Classic conversation with Jae Tea and Lo. Classic conversation with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap and where you gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap and where you gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap and where classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap and where you gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap and where you gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap and where you gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap and where you go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo.
Light or no light, I couldn't see it. What's happening, people? It's Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. And Ask a Cop. Again, he's supposed to be called. Call in, brother. You said you was going to call in. Want to hear about your Christmas story. You're going to get this thing, keep it going. Again,
well, let me shine on that topic.
Yeah, great points on it. We still on the struggle of raising kids in regards to showing them the struggle or not, and I'll give my opinion after that. But you can go ahead. What you got on?
Well, I think it's very important to, and I'm glad we made the point of the struggle doesn't have to be financial. The struggle can be whatever, and I think it's important to allow your kids to see what you're dealing with, and even when they get to certain ages to chime in on it, share some of the stuff, like, the getting out the mud part, I said when we had that topic about, getting out the mud, my kids, they had to get nothing out the mud, and I'm not, and I'm okay with that, what I mean? Because I think as a parent, your goal is to always make things better each generation. And so if you can make it where your kids don't have to struggle and don't have to want, and my kid never rode the school bus, and they have it. They get picked up and taken to school every doggone day, spoiled brats. And I'm okay with that because I enjoy the conversation with my sons to and from. These are moments that you get that you'll once it's gone, it's over. So, every moment you can share with them, and like my kids have seen me have to deal with business stuff, the stuff JT experiences on our flag football trips. My kids are experiencing that junk their whole lives. They've seen the fussing and the cussing and the this and that, And
they prepared.
Yeah, they prepared for it. But we comment on. I tell them about some of the stuff that goes on in the business and some of the difficulties, but keep open dialogue to them so that they can experience it. They can also see how you make adjustments. They can see, you can ask them questions. I think it's intriguing when you can keep them involved and knowledgeable about, what you are going through in life. They know some things that they know a lot of stuff, and I think it's going to just help them, because they may not have had the financial struggle. It will still help them to be able to adjust and adapt to different scenarios and situations. And, they've seen me chew folks out without a single cuss word. Because y'all know, for me to cuss, boy, you had to really, 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 really show out. So they've seen how I can handle stuff, and, and I notice how they can make those same adjustments. How they can have debates, and be just as witty and or sarcastic, they give it as they get it. You know, so you know, I think it's if you keep them involved in certain things. You know, I don't know the Romeo situation, so I know that's the comparison we're using. But you know, you have a lot of those entertainers. Kids have come out with a lot of drama. You know, the 50 Cents, the Kurt Franklin's, and you know what I mean. And you know, but you don't know what those parties had going day to day. You don't know how the conversations were, what they were covered with, or whatever. But I do believe it's very, very important to keep them involved as much as possible and knowledgeable about the things that are going on in the house, out the house, in the business, in the job, so they can see. You know, because I tell the kids all the time, you know, it's real out there. You know what I mean? And you better enjoy every bit of this kid stuff you got. Even the ones in college. Yep. You know what I mean? Enjoy this thing. You know what I mean? You know, I tell my son, there's kids going to college that literally have to work their way through college. You know, they have to put in 40 plus hours a week and go to school and do all these things. You know what I mean? And, you know, take advantage of the opportunity. My kids don't work. They never work. And I'm okay with that. I don't want them to have to work because I want them to be able to focus on what they have to do. But everybody's not in that position. And but even if you weren't in that position, we still have those same conversations. So, you know, I think it's very, very important.
I'm sort of course, I know some people think it, but I ain't in that same tax bracket. But so I just think, I feel that there's a struggle that they shouldn't be able to feel your struggle. I don't think they should feel your struggle. Witnessing your struggle and being able to learn from it, that's one thing. Like you said, you was able to do things in front of them so that they could see it, conflict resolution, that type of deal. What I did for myself, because same thing, one thing that I never wanted growing up was to have a child and me not be in the house with them. Well, I failed. That did not go the way I wanted it to. So I had to do the next best thing. At one time, for me, better for my son was just me being in his life because mine wasn't in my life. But then I realized it needed to be more. But again, I didn't want him to feel the struggle that I had growing up as a teenager. You know, I wanted him to have choices, wanted him to be able to do what he wanted to do, or at least think he could do what he wanted to do. So I created a struggle for him. And again, when I say a struggle, I'm not talking about, a kid ain't never broke anyway. So you can't create that struggle because a kid they're never broke because they got parents. You know, they're going to get what they need. So I couldn't create that struggle because he's always going to have what he needs. But I created certain struggles for him in regards to responsibility, in regards to doing something to earn something. Never asked him to get a job while he was in high school or nothing like that. No, never did that. Now, it's going to be kind of a segue into our next topic. After he graduated, he had to get a job. You know, he had to get a job. It wasn't, what I created for him was around the house type of deal. I never put rewards on good grades because that's what you're supposed to do. Period. You're supposed to pass unless there's something mentally, physically, or there's something else wrong with you to keep you from being able to study and do your work. That's what you're supposed to do. So I never rewarded for having good grades. If you had good grades, cool. That's what you're supposed to do. We're going to keep it moving, but there were certain things that I required for you to do to get the rewards, and that's the struggle that I created for mine. And a couple of times I actually changed it up because he actually did what I told him to do, but he kept doing what I told him to do, so I had to create a struggle so that he wouldn't get something, so that the next time he would think that he didn't do enough. I would tell him, nah, man, I told you to do this also, even though I didn't, but I would do that to create that struggle so that he would actually the next time go above and beyond. And
Hey, can y'all still hear me?
I feel
Yeah,
we got you. I feel it worked.
JT, because I want to jump in when you finish that. I
Okay.
want to say something to what you're saying. That's why I said it. Yeah.
Okay. But I feel that it worked. He seems pretty responsible just from what I had to deal with this past Christmas. Him wanting to be there for his girlfriend and her family members. He saw that with me. So I feel that some of the stuff that I created did work. But as far as making your children actually feel your struggle, like I've known parents to blame their children for certain things. I've known parents to put too much of their financial business in their children's laps. Telling them I pay this and I pay that, and how you expect for me to pay, that type of deal. I feel that that's sometimes when you're going a little too far, because now, growing up, when we was growing up, there was little boys in the house that felt like they had to be the man of the house because they felt that they had to make money to help ends meet. And I get it, but I just felt that was not the struggle that I wanted to put on my child. And that's not the struggle I think anybody should put on their child. But again, I'm not in their shoes. Some people may have to do that, but I feel if you can avoid your child from actually feeling your struggle, but you can actually create something for him. And again, him or her, I'm not talking about financial all the time, but if you can create some type of struggles for them to help them recognize the strength that they have in conflict resolution, in just figuring out something that he needs to do and just figuring it out on his own, that type of deal, then I think that's the struggle that you should put in front of them. But having them feel the weight of the same struggle that you felt as a parent or as a kid or as a parent, or you feeling as a parent, I don't think that you should go that far. Roy, go ahead. What you got, man?
And I think you just said a whole mouthful over there today. I mean, just now, man. And you some of the old folks in my family say you just preached the sermon right there, bro. But I want to adjust it a little bit, and this is because I agree with you 100%. But I think that the verbiage we use, and we've talked about this before, that the words that we use and the things that we say have an extreme impact on how it goes. So we went through the 3 levels or the 2 levels. So I was one of them kids while I was in high school that I felt like I had to help my mom. I had to help pay bills. I had to, I don't know if you remember the show with your boy Jason Bateman back in the day. I used to put money in my mama's purse that she thought she found, that she had from somewhere else.
Yeah.
From working and do all that. I did. That was me. And like you said, one of the things that I refused, that I didn't want, was my kids to have to think about even attempting to do any of that. So there were certain things. But I think that the thing that we have to stop looking at is the word struggle. And I'm going to go through a couple of different phases real quickly. But the first thing, JT, what you were teaching him was responsibility. That's another situation that these kids nowadays don't learn. And I think one of you guys actually, Rosie Martin, whoever that is, put it in the thing, that's one of the biggest challenges that these kids in this generation have, is that they don't have any responsibility. Again, they didn't have to do certain things. And so when you don't have to do it, when everything is handed to you, it changes your perspective. Because even with the word struggle, and this is where I was talking about where the difference comes in, and this had to have happened to me maybe about 7 months ago, actually. I was reading something, and somebody reading something, I can't remember who it was, but I have stopped using the word struggle. No, I'm sorry. I stopped using the word sacrifice because too many people were associating sacrificing and struggle as the same thing. And I say that those are 2 different things because the quick definition of sacrifice, you're doing something for a specific reason. You're letting go of something to get something else. So you're giving up something in order to get to a goal or to a particular point. Whereas with struggle, it is a sustained point of giving up without any end game in mind. If you're struggling, you're just struggling because you're not trying to get out of whatever it is what it was. And so I had to stop using sacrifice and struggle, because I think that that's one of the things that we do, especially when we talk about relationships with men and women, because we'd be like, oh, no, that people think I'm struggling a lot. I'm like, no, I ain't struggling. I'm sacrificing because I have goals with my business that I'm trying to do. And some of the stuff that you look at as a luxury don't matter to me. So if I'm giving up things, there's a difference in that process. But again, that's one of the situations that these kids never had. Just like you said, I didn't force my kids to get jobs when they was in high school, or think about it when they were moved to Texas or whatever. Even if they got jobs, it didn't stop them. If they was calling daddy for something, it wasn't going to stop me from giving them what they needed, because they had responsibilities. Like you said, there were responsibilities that I set on my kids and say, you have to do this. Like you said, I ain't never gave no money for A's and B's. I leave that for the grandmamas and the uncles and the aunties. No, because if you come in here with less than what you're supposed to get in school, that's going to be a problem, because you're not doing the main responsibility that you have is to do well in school so you can get out and move on to the next phase of your life. And one of the things that I ended up telling my kids, especially after my divorce with my ex-wife, I said, I need y'all to understand something. My purpose in life is not to make your life super comfortable right now. It's to prepare you to be an adult. It's to prepare you to go out into the world and deal with the things that you're going to have to deal with, what we call on a regular basis adulting. And it is super funny to me right now to deal with my daughter. Y'all know I got my daughter who lives here in Atlanta with me, and she's a daddy's girl. I will do anything with a child, but it's funny now to listen to her talk about life where she's working and having to pay her own bills and she's doing all this stuff. But it's great to hear her when her friends are just randomly out there trying to borrow money every month because they done went and partied, and she's been like, yeah, no, I told them I got to go home. I got what's called at home because I got bills to pay and I don't have all the stuff that I need to do. So that shows me that she has that responsibility in her life, that she knows she has to take care of her bills before she goes out and parties. You know, to get that in a young person who went through college and was in a sorority and saw all this stuff, it makes you proud that she went ahead and paid attention, as we say. But I think that that's what these kids have to get used to. And I know we were talking about, again, celebrity kids, but I think there are a lot of just regular parents at this point, too, who didn't give their children any legitimate responsibility. As JT said, you know, they didn't make them do nothing. It's just like, oh, yeah, you just sit there, I'm going to get this. And I mean, listen, you can hear by the way some of them talk to their parents, talk around their parents, talk to their parents, and all that. You can tell that these are people who've been given everything that not just what they've needed, but what they wanted most of the time in life. And they've never had to put any real effort forth in trying to get something besides what I'm responsible for giving you. You know, like you said, JT, is like, yeah, my job is to pay the bills. Why would you throw that up to your child anyway? You got somewhere to live, but I gotta have somewhere to live, right? I gotta eat. Y'all in the house, I'm gonna have to feed whoever's in the house. That's what being an adult is about. So people who throw that up at their kids, like you say, to help them or to put their struggle on their kids, that's the complete wrong attitude, because I think what that does is, one, that alienates and pushes your children away from you. And then they don't want to hear any of the knowledge and the experience that you can give them as they grow up, and the things that they're going to need as an adult that you can help them avoid some pitfalls with and stuff.
Real quick, I'm going to go over my man Rossi. He made some comments here. Said this generation of young adults are not accountable for their own mistakes. Said he deals with the same things with the live-at-home 33-year-old, and he's actually sat down in several men's meetings, and the stories are the same. Blame everyone but themselves and paint the picture that the parents failed them. He had another comment. It's great to hear that I was the only one to not reward my kids for good grades in school. My famous saying to them was always, your grades are for your future, not mine, and the rewards will come. The rewards will come because of them and not because I rewarded you. So yeah, something just clicked in me, man. Another thing I hate hearing is non-custodial parents using child support as a reason not to do something for your child, and you say that to the actual child. I've seen it, I've heard it. I mean, that's, you know, I mean, we're talking about, you know, the younger generation, but when you talk about any generation, you have to talk about what the generation they came up under.
Because that's what I was gonna say. I mean, I think that we all have different views of everything. I think that even like with this generation here, to say that, you know, they don't, you know, accept accountability, maybe they weren't taught accountability. Maybe the generation before them wasn't accountable for their actions, and it's a trickle down to the generation now. That's all I'm saying. I think that a lot of the conversations that we have up here are important because it gets you to see different views, and then you also see that people have similar views. So that's why I say I don't want nobody to think I'm disagreeing with them. I'm just saying that some of the people that I see in the younger generation, I don't even believe that they were taught accountability from their parents. Like, their parents didn't prepare them. And then when they, you know, when they struggle, instead of them parents, you know, taking a step back and saying, hey, I didn't prepare them, they said, well, he has to learn on his own. He has to pull himself up by the bootstraps. He has to, you know, be grown. And sometimes these parents aren't preparing these kids for when they go out in the world. I'm talking about, you know, like you said, you guys are the exception. We are the exception. But I'm telling you, it's a lot of kids this generation that parents aren't preparing these kids for accountability or to know these things. Like, you know, like it says, like, to say that they're spoiled inside. It's not that. Like you said, you guys literally gave your kids challenges because you could see that these are something that they're going to need. Some of these people, these kids' parents aren't doing that. They're not seeing that they need to give them these challenges. They're just giving them the money, or they're not give. It could be any one of those things, because like you said, you see it both ways. You see the kids that get the money and that are still messed up. You see the kids that don't get the money and are extremely messed up. I just think that we have to teach our kids in the ways that we learn as we go through life, and then we pass those lessons down to our kids in different ways, because everybody's different, but you know that you have to pass these lessons down. I'm saying that it's a lot of lessons that weren't passed down. Like, we always speak of, like you said, the community, and you say you learn the stuff from your community. I can say that, man, I learned my stuff from my mom. Like, it's hard to say that I learned how to be a man from my mom, but I did, and I had a dad. And it wasn't based off of what she did. It was some of the people she put me around.
Well, I think a lot of times,
Dwayne,
Dwayne,
you know what I'm saying, just to assist, you know, the void that I wouldn't get when I would call my dad and he wouldn't say nothing, or didn't have the advice, or couldn't come down when I needed. She still got people around me that got me right, like my uncles and my I have cousins that she would call. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think that I just think that it's the parent. The parent has to know and has to have that button on the kid to know and put that in their kids. Like, because I say this now, I don't know no deadbeat dads. Like, I know all the guys I know are good dads. I can't tell you no guys that I hang around that aren't good dads. And I'm not saying for money or nothing. I know some guys that have no money, but they are with their kids 24/7. You know what I'm saying? Like, barely have jobs, but with their kids 24/7. And I'm like, I can't say that he's a bad father, because it ain't about money. It's about the time he's spending, and I see the impact on their kids. Their kids are flourishing. You know what I'm saying?
But that's the biggest difference, and it is your relationship with your kids.
Correct.
You know what I mean? It's your mom, whether, you know, the moms, whether, you know, they say woman can't raise a boy to be a man and all that stuff, but a lot of times what they do is they raise you to be a good person.
Yeah.
And your mom, just like my mom, raised us to be good people and to acknowledge things and to be respectful, you know, and then, like you said, be around people that's respectful. And that's the biggest difference I think you have is that word respect. These kids aren't taught proper respect,
Correct.
proper etiquettes of how to conduct yourself. You know, when you're here, this is how you conduct yourself. This is how you speak. This is how you do X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
You know, so it doesn't matter about what you give or don't give. You know, like to me, you know, you say teaching kids responsibility. To me, the child's job is to be a good child.
Yeah.
To be a functional child, to get good grades, to do what your job is to do what you're supposed to do. You do what you're supposed to do. You know what I mean? Everything else, whether you want to call it reward, everything else just goes along with it by you being a good child. But it's up to that parent to raise the good children. You know what I mean? A lot of times those kids' parents don't have the communication. They're not doing anything. They're not taking them anywhere. They're not a part of their lives. You know, if you're a part of that child's life every day, I don't care what you got in your bank account. Like you just said, if you're a part of that child's life every day, that child's going to see you in that light. And they're going to want to emulate that particular light. But if you're not, it doesn't matter what you gave them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The finance of that part goes out the window.
Yeah.
Totally. Whether you have the money or not,
Correct.
it goes totally out the window. We'll be right back, y'all. 2 minutes.
With Jae Tea and Lo, you never know which way to rap. Classic conversations. With Jae Tea and Lo, you never know which way to rap. We're gonna genius conversations. With Jae Tea and Lo. Classic conversations. With Jae Tea and Lo, you never know which way to rap. We're gonna go. Classic conversations. With Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rattle. Classic conversations. We can be alone. You never know which way to rattle. It's gonna go. Classic conversations. We can be alone. You never know which way to rattle. It's gonna classic conversations. We can be alone. You never know which way to rattle. It's gonna go. Classic conversations. We can be alone. You never know which way to rattle. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rattle. It's gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rattle. It's gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rattle. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rattle. It's gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rattle. It's gonna classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rattle. It's gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rattle. It's gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rattle. It's gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo.
Hey, yo, what's happening, y'all? We are back. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo.
And that's good cop.
He said he was going to call in. I know I've been telling y'all he was going to call in because he said he was going to tell us his story. Hopefully he'll give us a call maybe at the end of the show. But
I hope he waits, though, because I want him to do that junk in
yeah,
person.
because I don't do that now at the end. so yeah, we're going to keep on going, man. With, great topic that we just spoke on. Hopefully it'll keep all of you out there talking about that type of thing. But the next topic, and actually Angelo came up with this topic, and he's always actually mentioned it. We just never actually brought it up in a conversation. So we're going to do it tonight. Black people, are we the only culture that enforces our children to leave the home once they're 18 years old? Questions about that is, do you feel that them leaving the home at 18 is going to enforce maturity quicker? Kind of like throwing them to the fire and they're going to find their own water, or throwing them in the ocean and they're going to figure out how to swim. Is that enough time for us to actually give them the tools that they need to deal with the world today? And then if you're going to enforce that at 18, but then there's not immediate success and you're going to let them back in the house, why make them leave at 18 anyway? Please give us a telephone call on this. Make sure you put the phone number up, Dwayne. 404-500-1605. Boy, Dwayne ain't no joke. That popped up there before I could even say the number. Boy, you getting bad at this thing here, man. That a caller? Is that what
It was hanging up.
Okay. So, like I said, reach out to us, man. When I think about it, that's all I can remember. Your senior year in high school, back in my day, college wasn't always the thing that everybody said they was going to do, because half of us didn't want to do school anymore. So, of course, you was trying to figure out what you was going to do. You're 18 years old. Back then, aging myself, minimum wage was like $3.85. No, wait.
$3.35.
$3.35, yeah, $3.35.
Know that well.
And I think like 2 years after I got out of high school, it went up to like $4.15 or something like that. But, going into that last semester, that last couple of months of school, you started thinking, damn, what am I going to do? Because, if you're already 18, which a lot of people were, I was only 17 when I graduated, but it was either 18 or by the time you graduate, you're supposed to get out the house. And that's all I can remember. And I don't remember any other races having that conversation. But all I can remember was, damn, man, what you gonna do? Man, I don't know. I'm thinking about the military. Well, I'm thinking about going to college. I might just go to community college. My mom might let me stay for a little longer if I go to community college. I think I'm gonna get one of those trainee jobs. She might let me stay a little while I do that. They're not gonna pay me, but so maybe she'll let me stay. But it was always the worry of getting thrown out of the house at 18. And so of course, that's one thing I did carry with me once I became grown, and my child wasn't living with me, but I was telling him that, hey, man, once you graduate, you need to be getting up out of there and doing your own thing. You know, he was contemplating college, which I knew that in my heart knew that wasn't going to work. So, of course, I was pushing for the military. Either way, I felt that he needed to be out of the house once he graduated high school. So, and I think mine was, in regards to the answering of the questions, I think mine was by putting them out, you know, they would swim. I felt that the freedom, they would make themselves swim instead of trying to come back home. That's what I felt to my son. I mean, I always told my son, if you want to live with me after you graduate, you know, you're not considered a child anymore, so you're going to have to pay half. Even though I knew I wasn't going to make my child pay half, but that was my scare tactic to make sure that he left the house at 18. So I do believe that we are the only culture that actually enforces that. And, you know, it makes you wonder, is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? Of forcing your child out in today's world, especially at 18 years old.
I mean, I think it's I believe it's a cultural thing, and I saw that the topic came across because I was watching something, and it came up. You know, are we the only culture that does that? And it was such an in-depth conversation, and they interviewed a lot of different races, and no other race felt that way or was kind of motivated that way. And but you know, like you said, you hear that growing up. I didn't hear that in my house, except for my middle brother. Because my middle brother wanted to be grown his whole life. And so, you know, that's the first, you know, my mom did tell him, you know, well, when you graduate, you know, you can get out of here. She didn't say you have to get out of here.
Right.
But she said, when you graduate, you can go. If you want to do, you know. And she was fine when he graduated, boy. When my family came out for the graduation, well, he packed up and left with him and went right back to Virginia. He's been in Virginia ever since. But it wasn't nothing enforced. But I just know growing up, you heard that amongst a lot of other kids.
Yeah.
And even to this day, coach a lot of kids. And I just hear the parents always say, you know, so they get 18, so they gotta get out of here. You know what I mean? It's like
me and mama can be naked.
But yeah. They ready to turn your room into an office or a playroom or whatever. Yeah. But it's like, why do we feel at 18 that they're grown? They're still, the only thing they're old enough to do at 18 is vote. That's it. So what makes them grown? You know what I mean? At 18 years old, you expect them to just all of a sudden just snap out of all the BS they were doing throughout high school and just ready to go out into this mad world. You know what I mean? And it's like, I just think it's a horrible cultural thing that has been passed on from generation to generation to generation. And it's like, it's one of those generational cycles I think should be broken.
Correct.
Because it's bad to think that your child at 18 is just all of a sudden ready for adulthood. And I think it happens more with the male than the female. You know, boys supposed to be men, but you're not a man at 18. You just considered a quote unquote adult in the eyes of the law. Right. But that's it. And you're not an adult in the eyes of nothing else.
You make a valid point. I actually never heard it from my mother. I'm gonna have to ask her if she would have made me leave at 18, because I assumed that's what I needed to do for a couple of different reasons. But one of the reasons was because I felt that you're supposed to leave the house once you graduated high school. I wasn't 18. I stayed out another year before I turned 18. But I felt another half a year, put it that way. But I felt that I was supposed to leave the house She never actually told me to, because my sister sure enough didn't. I left because I felt that's what I was supposed to do. I'm gonna have to ask her that, if she would let me stay for a little longer.
Nah,
Wonder how it would have turned out.
like I said, I think it's you know, like I said, I think it is. I stay with my mom, and I heard it more. Like I said, when my mom and dad were together, like when you get 18, you know, him saying it to my sister, like when you get 18, you can get on up out of here. You know what I'm saying? In the midst of them squabbling in general, you know what I'm saying? So, like I said, it was always supplanting in my mind. Now, the question I wanted to have for you, JT, when you were, because I know I wasn't in school, I'm the Millennium Coalition. So when you were in school, what was happening to where they weren't pushing certain agendas? Because like I said, when I was in school, you know, it was the college or the, like you said, the military kind of agenda, but it was those two agendas. Like I said, we had OEC where we had trade school, so you did have some people who knew that that's what they wanted to do. It wasn't a lot of them, but it was some of those people. But for the most part, they pushed the college and the military route. And for you to say that you didn't know what, I'm feeling like they didn't push any route to you. It's just like more like.
You got to understand, this was 1985. And this was, I don't want to call it country. I'll call it rural area. So, you know, they had the trade schools. They had the trades that you could do in school so that once you got out of school, you could go into that. And a lot of it had to do with farming, to be honest with you. College really wasn't pushed. I mean, at the time, people that I knew, out of my 4 years of high school, I think I knew 20 to 25 black people that actually went away to college out of all of those graduating. And some of those was on athletic scholarships. We didn't have a guidance counselor that pushed for collegiate access. We didn't have, even with sports, there were letters that came for us that we didn't know about. I didn't find out about until after I was in the military. I knew of some schools that were actually recruiting me, but there wasn't visits and things of that nature. We had one coach that would take us to visit. This one coach took me to Winston-Salem State. That was the only school I went to visit. It was even though it was a progressive time in that area, it still hadn't progressed that far. Y'all understand? I'm talking about, we didn't have BET. So we saw successful black people acting. That was it. ABC, NBC, CBS. That was it. The Uncle Sam posters was around. Of course, the Marine Corps was down the street. And like I said, the reason I chose the military, because I did feel I needed to leave, but I didn't want to leave and have the option of coming back. So that's why I chose the military, because I also wanted to make sure that whatever my mom had to do, all of her resources now could go towards my sister instead of splitting with me. I didn't even get the education of, if I went to college, say on an athletic scholarship, that I wouldn't have to call home and get money to buy socks. I didn't get none of that. We didn't get any of that type of information. You just didn't get it. And it wasn't the complete area. It was more so my school, because a lot of my homies from other schools actually went to college. But they had that access. We just did not have that access. And you didn't feel that it was wrong because you didn't know. You couldn't miss what you never knew.
It was just the norm, huh?
Yeah, you couldn't miss what you knew. You couldn't feel like you was being wronged when you didn't see it happening anyway. So Now it is now. You know, I can tell you that back at home. You know, there are a lot of. I see all of my partners' children going to college and stuff like that. You know, people are scared of the military right now. To be honest with you, but yeah, that's why it just wasn't really pushed. You were. You know, so many went to college and came back. You know, if you got a job at, they had a plant there called Standardized Diesel Systems. If you mess around and got a job there getting out of high school, you probably was going to retire there. If you worked for
Like the shipyard in Virginia.
you work for the power company in the area, you're probably going to stay there because they got benefits and, you know, you can, you know, that type of deal. It just wasn't, nothing was really pushed. The only thing that was pushed was survival, you know, and whatever means necessary, you know.
But at your school, are you saying that majority of the kids, particularly the males, I got you, were under the mindset of at 18 we got to go?
Yeah. I whether they
Yeah, you were at a mixed school.
yeah.
Do you recall the white kids saying that?
No, that's what I'm saying. I never. No, never did.
Let me read this comment real quick. Kiki, welcome back, Kiki. Ain't seen you in a while on the show. She said on the previous topic, we have to learn our kids as individuals and teach our kids in the way they will receive it, not the way we were raised, our parents were raised, but based on who they are. She said money is needed just as much as time.
Great point.
Yeah, absolutely great point. About this topic, she said, I can't imagine making my boys leave when they turn 18. I think that's setting them up for failure as they are nowhere prepared for the real world. 100% agree. And that's why I say I think it's something I think we have to, psyche got to break, because there's no way in this day and time these kids are ready to just march out in this world at 18 years old. I just can't see how you are.
I mean, even go ahead with Kiki, because I'm gonna come back to that point right there.
My mom said this day and time I would not force a child out. Boy, DC, what's up, DC? Long time no hear from. DC said 18 to party, 21 to drink. They not grown, but we ain't gonna have two kings in the house, and we ain't having two queens. They're gonna be one person who run the house. The problem is when the kids think they can do or say what they want in your house, then it's time to go. Yeah, I mean, that point I understand if that's a scenario. Yeah, I mean, even at 18, you know,
some think
there's some have to be still some restrictions. There have to be some, you know, like you know, my kid's 20 and 18 now, so I'm in that atmosphere, that mindset. So you know, there's leeway now. You know what I mean? But it's respectful leeway. Is you still have to respect the house.
Right.
You still have to conduct yourself the exact same way. You know what I mean? And I'm thankful that I don't have those issues with any of them. You know what I mean? But again, I think all that's a part of that raising, that nurturing part of it, that being a part of the lives. And you know what I mean? I think once you gain and earn that respect, and they respect you as a parent because of what you've done as a parent, it changes things. You know what I mean? And I mean, I can go by my childhood. The things that we had and didn't have, we learned. You know, my mom didn't. She didn't share. You're lacking X, Y, Z. But you can look in the refrigerator and see you lacking X, Y, Z. You know what I mean? But the way she conducted things, she never conducted it as if you were lacking.
Right.
You know what I mean? She never conducted the house as if we were out.
Right.
We knew what we didn't have, but it was just never there. But she never presented it that way. You know what I mean? And it was like, this is what you do. You don't have this, you do this. You know what I mean? You made it happen, and you did it as a unit. But again, it goes to respect factor. You know what I mean? My brother, like I said, he wanted to be grown. So when the lack of respect came, then it was a situation of, okay,
right, you
can't conduct yourself the way I want you to conduct yourself, then yeah, it's time for you to go. You know what I mean? But hindsight, he looks back at it and realizes he could have done things a lot differently. You know what I'm saying? You could have done things a lot differently because you had what you needed, but, you know, you wanted more. And sometimes I think when kids get to that point, then, yeah, okay, you may have to go find out on your own, but don't push them out. That's what I'll be worried about. I'll be worried about that push out. I'll be worried about that mindset of you have to go at 18. This is what you have to do. This is what happens at 18. 18, you're on your own. No, you're not. You're not ready. You're not ready. So at 21 half time, you're not ready.
And that's where like you said, when they're pushed out, there's that reluctance to come back when they really should.
Sure.
There's that.
I agree.
Yeah, there is that.
Go ahead.
Going on what Kiki said.
Hold on, Carl. We're going to come right to you.
In regards to not being ready, you know, I left, like I said, at 17. By the time I was 18 when I left because I didn't actually go into the Army until after my birthday. But it actually took me 2 years of my first enlistment before I actually started acting as a man because I wasn't ready.
Right.
I could apply for this and I can put all the money I want on this thing here and then pay y'all later. And then if I don't pay you later, you're just gonna send me another note? Shit, all right then. American Express, yeah, let me get one of those. You know, and it's just like I said, you're not prepared.
Funny you say that, JT.
At 18, and like you said, not even at 20. My nephew, I remember when he went in the Marine Corps when he first got out of high school. He was ready to get out at 4 years, but he actually was stationed near my mom, so he still really hadn't grown. By the grace of God, he listened to a couple of us, and he stayed in, and after that, you could see the growth. But the whole time that he was that first enlistment, it was like he was still in high school, but just getting paid. It was like he was still being a kid.
Right.
You know, it just goes to show. And my nephew, growing up, he was a little spoiled, don't get me wrong, but there's still, he knew right from wrong, and he knew what he was supposed to do, what he wasn't supposed to do. But he knew that when he had, you know, people around him holding him accountable. But once you get out there on your own at 18, you got a check in your pocket, you got a new car, you doing this, you doing that. You know, you lose all types of the thing, that structure. And we don't recognize that structure until we don't create our own structure until we get older, especially as men. Especially us as men. Women may mature, let me change that. Women mature a lot faster than us. You give us show us a good time, that's all we going for at a young age. And, you know, my man Vic said, you know, going on what Kiki said also, you know, we have to start grooming them a little earlier than what we are doing. We're trying to give them an easier life than what we had. Goes back to the first topic that we was talking about. But you do have to start grooming, you know, your children earlier in regards to relating to real life type stuff, real life type situations. You said we got a caller? Caller, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah. Hey, this is Levi from Richland, JT.
My boy, what's happening?
What's going on, man? How y'all doing?
Let me tell you something. This dude right here is the chickenest, fish frying, grillingest, lobster tailingest,
man,
cigar smokingest. This dude right here, you talking about a good time? That's my guy right there. What's up, bro?
Man, everything good, man. Hope you have a good Christmas, you and Kia.
Hey, and matter of fact, he can relate to some of the stuff I'm talking about. Levon, you graduated what?
78.
So he graduated 7 years before me.
Yeah, I graduated 78. But you know, to the topic about putting kids out 18 years old versus when we grew up. So we started working. You know, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old in the fields and stuff. farming, helping out in tobacco, cutting grass. So by the time we got to 6th and 7th grade, we were pretty much buying our own school clothes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we was pretty much buying our own school clothes. Plus we grew up in a community to where you had Mr. James Morgan and Richard Guide and your Aunt Ned and Charles Parker and all the people always say, y'all need to grow up and make yourself of yourself and do something.
Mm-hmm.
Don't hang around here. So by the time you in high school, and you know more than I can tell you, you got out of school Friday, June 14th, which was Friday. Saturday morning, the 15th at 6:00, you waiting for the blueberry bus to come.
Blueberry bus or the cucumber
Then after
bus?
blueberry, yeah, you wait for blueberries, cucumbers, and then you went right from there to tobacco, then breaking corn. So even though you play sports in the summer, but you work too. See, these kids today don't have a work ethic when they was coming up.
That's a very good point.
See, we had to work, and we had to work for what we want. I can't ever recall nobody buying me a car. It's like you said, when you go into the military, and I chose the military. But the first 4 years of the military, I was like, oh man, I'm getting all this money. I'm single, I can do me. But then you come into reality, like, this is what I want to do when this is what, you see people buying houses and it's nice, right? So you surround yourself with people, that are doing those things. But today, putting a kid out 18 is not a good thing. I don't think it's good, unless you groom them to, hey, this is what you need to be doing. And because, kids 18 years old is not making no money.
That's
but
facts.
They need to have options. You go to trade school, you go to college, you get you a good job. But then again, you put a limitation on how long they can stay there. You put them to age.
What will be the limitation?
If you're 18 and you stand with me and you got a good job or got a job, maybe 2.5 years. Maybe till you're 21. 2.5 years. That means you ain't got. I'm not going to ask you to pay no bills, but you need to be preparing yourself to live out in this world. Because what would happen if something happened to you or your wife, or or something catastrophic happened to where y'all got killed or something? But as long as these kids have a lifeline, they always gonna come back and go. Because they know, hey, shit, if I get in trouble, shit, daddy got me. Mama ain't gonna let this happen to me. But once that safety net is gone, you're like, oh man, I got to do this myself. But back again to like Jae Tea said, where we grew up at, we were grown to, hey, you gotta get your job, but inflation wasn't as high, rent wasn't for a 1-bedroom $40,000. I mean, rent and stuff now is crazy.
Yep, there's not a job that you can go start at and be able to pay what you got to pay for, what you have to pay for an apartment in these days. 18 years, unless they really got a hell of a hookup, they're not gonna get a job where they can pay life's expenses on their own off the rip.
So it goes back to my point and what Kiki said earlier. Aren't we setting them up for failure when we are enforcing the thought process of at 18 you got to be preparing yourself to get up my house? You know what I mean? Are we setting them up because knowing that what job you gonna get? You know what I mean? It's like putting limitations on them at such an early age because now you put them in a situation where they gotta go struggle and get a job they really don't want. You know what I mean? Because they're trying to fend for themselves when they're simply not ready yet. And the Bluebird Kiki is a is that local bus.
Yeah,
that takes you to the local train of plane or the airport.
No, I'll take you to the blueberry field so you can pick blueberries. It was a job.
Exactly. But that's the way. But that's like you said. That's the way we bought all our school clothes. My parents never bought me school clothes. Yeah, they just have to do that. But it comes down to when them boys start getting, 12 or 13 years old. You need to start paying them for cutting grass. Give them allowance for cutting the grass or washing the cars. Or, show them how to manage money, and that's part of it too, because they don't know how to manage money. Show them how to manage money. How to make it grow, and then how to go out and try to get yourself something. But don't go out alone. As a dad or the mom, you want to go with them and to check the place out and say, "No, son, this is not good for you. Stay here. You stay here. We'll find something later on." No, that's all I'm saying.
Hey, man, we got to go to Levon. Appreciate you calling in, my guy. Appreciate you watching the show. Get some more of them people down in Florida to give us a call, man.
I sure will, man. I love y'all guys, man.
Appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you, brother.
When we come back, I'm going to read your comments, DC and Kiki. So when we come back, we'll be right back 2 minutes.
All right, man.
With Jae Tea and Lo, you never know which way to rap. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap. The record's gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap. The record's gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap. The record's gonna go. It's classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap. The record's gonna classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap. The record's gonna go. It's classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap. The record's gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap. The record's gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap. The record's gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap. The record's classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap. The record's gonna go. It's classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap. The record's gonna classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap. The record's gonna go. It's classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap. The record's gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo.
Hilarious.
Yeah, Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo.
And Ask a Cop.
We are back, man. We are back. Hey, man, page Ask a Cop or page him. What did I just say? Page him. Text ask a Cop, man. Tell him to give us a telephone call. But still on this topic, man, we're gonna get this thing wrapped up and go into our top 5.
Let me read DC real quick.
Okay.
Said, Lo and JT, you raise kids to be productive men in the house and always respectful. I think that's what we miss in the world, is those men and women who support and challenge their kids to do better and want better things. Most parents don't set goals. I know a person who lived with his mom until he was 50. So what is the age that we have our kids get right and move out? Yeah, 50 is a little bit past that time frame.
Yeah, might as well let them stay then.
Kiki said, based on who your kids are individually, you know which one's going to respect the house versus who may be a problem. But still, I don't see myself forcing them out. You set rules and boundaries, stand your ground as you did in their youth. If anything, your child will leave voluntarily because they choose to instead of following rules that's beyond your control. What's up, brother Harold Dennis? She said, nope, her kids do not have to work. The job is school and sports. 21 years old, they're still not ready. What do you really know at 21 besides the same thing you knew at 18? Nothing. If they went to college, they would be there until they are, 23, 24. So why in the world we put them out of the house before then? Mom chimed in and said, the high school graduate cannot lay around the house and do nothing. The person must work, assist with bills in the house, go to a trade school or a college. Most parents will save the money given, then give to the graduate to function later once they are on their own. The old people call a diary. Yeah, so, again, I feel strongly that kids aren't ready at 18. Most aren't ready at 21. I think a lot of it, and you mentioned earlier, Dwayne, I think it's still, a lot of it just that parental aspect of it, and I think some parents may be lacking that aspect, kids 12, 13, 14, you tell them at an early age, 18, you getting out of here anyway. You already planting that seed. And so that's why I think sometimes they start going out and doing other things because they feel like I gotta be grown before my time, as opposed to, the nurturing part of it, if it's a single mom, the kid may not feel like they have X, Y, Z. They got to come help mom out. I get it. Every situation is different. But I just think from a cultural standpoint is what I'm harping on. From a cultural standpoint, we are the ones who want to push our kids out at an early age and then wonder why certain things may not work out. You want them to fall on their face first. I don't want mine to fall on their face first. I want to do everything I can to prevent the fall on the face. I remember my son called the other day. It was like, Dad, what you think about me getting a credit card? I said, absolutely not. He said, well, they were saying that, you can help build the credit up. I said, son, you're 18 years old. What you need credit for? I said, oh, I'm telling you now, that thing's the devil. They catch you in college. They send you. I'm gonna tell you, I get them credit card letters in the mail every day from them boys. And get what I do? They'll never see them jokers. I don't want the temptation in your life. And I told her, I said, man, listen, don't worry about your credit right now. I'm gonna help. I'm gonna show you how to develop your credit. Don't you worry about that junk. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you how to build your junk up, so you don't have to worry about it. You know what I mean? But don't get caught up, because I made that fatal mistake. You know what I mean? I had credit cards in my name. I knew my brother's Social Security by heart. I had a credit card in his name. Hey, man, them credit cards are the devil, man.
Yeah, bro.
You only want that in your life.
They still devilish.
Oh yeah. You don't want them problems, man. But again, it's that I just think we got to just make sure we keep nurturing. Build them, help them grow, help them learn certain things. Roy said earlier about money management. Those are things you can teach them. Yeah. And you don't wait till they're 18 to start. You don't wait till they're out the house to start. Those are things that you teach throughout the course of their life, how to manage your money. You know what I mean? Getting them a bank account early and letting them see the account. Just nurture, man. You know what I mean? But don't throw these jokes out at 18 years old. They're they simply not ready.
Get Rossi's comment in here. He said that he believes as a parent you should actually know when it's time for your kid to get on his or her own based on paying attention to their maturity level.
Sure.
But if the respect is an issue, then all bets are off. And it's time to make it on your own. Nothing worse than trying to run a household with a disrespectful young adult. And he came back again. He said, I'm going to keep it real, fellas. I was ready to bounce at 18, so I went to the Air Force and never really looked back. Thank God I believed in myself and surrounded myself with the right folks and did fine. But just like you said, it's a case-by-case basis. Hey, Ross, appreciate you participating, bro. Man, we got the credit card thing. I'm going to give you a quick story. So I know that they steal the devil. You know, since we bought them, you know, you buy a house, they them credit card applications, when pre-approval start showing up. Man, I actually had a pre-approval show up. I said, shoot, this look too good to pass up. Let me go and apply for this thing. Man, they turned me down. Then they sent it to me again. So I called them this time. I said, why y'all keep sending me this stuff? Y'all done turned me down already. Man, that lady was on the phone. She was going, sir, are you sure? I said, yeah, I'm looking at it again. And if you look, you'll see that y'all turned me down already. She looked at it. She said, we're going to take another look at it. We might approve you this time. I said, ain't this some shit? I really didn't want you to. I was just trying to make a point. It's still the devil, bro. I'm telling you, my son, he bought a car, but he's a little frugal like his dad, so I don't have to worry about him too much. He got his bonus money from the military, so he did right by it, you know, but he did buy instead of buying the car cash, he basically put half down, so he's building his credit that way, but he's staying away from credit cards because, I mean, he got enough cash, you don't need it. You're in the military. You're not buying furniture. You know, no, what? Girl, I ain't no granddaddy. No, don't do that.
I know that right.
Yeah, leave that one alone. Let's keep that where it's at. I am not trying to be granddaddy yet. Still got some good time left. All my money gone in. Shoot. Woo. I heard about them grandparent stories. You become that person and you just spend all your money on that baby. I am not trying to do it. I'm still a little selfish.
I heard that.
I'm still there. Still there. But let me ask y'all this before we get into the top 5. Do you think that, because I actually had this conversation with some people, do you think that supplying options to a child coming up on those, you know, in those graduating years, you give them some options, knowing that you're not going to kick them out, but give them those options to try and make them focus and make a decision? You think that's healthy or unhealthy?
Yeah, I think, again, in a point that Kiki made earlier about knowing your child, you know, if you spend enough time with your kids and know who they are and their personalities, you'll figure out whether they're made for college or not made. Let's face facts. Every child is not made to go to college, all right? Every child is not. So don't force something on them that they obviously don't want, you know what I mean, just because you may want it, right? Some kids are made to need to go to a trade school, or they need to go do something else. Everybody's not made for college. So I think if you notice that and you see which one is which, I think you can build them up towards whatever. Give them different options. You know what I mean? I think you give them options regardless, even with college. Give them options. You know, but yeah, I think it's very critical that you give them, that you kind of know who your child is. And if you see your child is not made for college, start showing them different avenues of life that they may be able to venture in. You know, there's plenty of folks that make good money without going to college. You know what I mean? There's plenty of folks, you know, but you got to find something that's a niche. You know, you don't want your child, 21, 22 years old, and the best job they got is, at Walmart or, at McDonald's, or, you know what I mean? Not knocking any of those jobs. Somebody got to serve that junk up, but, you know what I mean? But that's not your goal for your child.
Right.
I mean, your goal for your child is to do better than you.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think the only way you do that is to help develop them, you know? And I just, again, goes back to the original topic of don't just send them a message of get out. You know what I mean? Send a message of, you know, let's start working on the next plan. What is the plan? What do you really see yourself doing? And then let's work towards building that up. If you want to do, you know, sheetrock work, well, let's go find the best avenue. If you want to do whatever it is, let's go find, you want to be a cook, let's go find you a culinary school. Let's go find something that helps, that's gonna develop you. You know what I mean? As opposed to you figure it out, but at 18, I need your room. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, I think that's definitely what's needed. I mean, real talk.
And I think with that too, you have to. I've learned you got to have patience with 16 to 18, 19-year-old when you asking them what is it that you want to do. Because a lot of kids that I've spoken to over the years, I want to work on computers. Okay, what you want to do with the computer? I just want to, you know, build something. Okay, what do you want to build? You know, because a lot of times, and I'm not talking about, my son didn't give me none of that. So I'm not talking about my child, but I'm just talking about kids that I've spoken to. They have answers. Some of them have answers ready for you, just to give to you to get you off of it. There's a patience level that has to be there because some people do know what they want to do at 18. Usually once they're successful at something, they'll say that that's what they wanted to do since they was 11. It kills me when they be talking to these professional athletes and they'll say, yeah, when I was 3 years old, I wanted to be an All-American. No, man. Just because you wore a jersey back then, you didn't know. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, and again, I just think that answer comes out too quickly. But I do feel that there are some, but I just don't feel that everybody that's made it, that's what they wanted to do at 10 years old type of deal. So there's a patience level that has to be with that also. Kiki gave something about the respect thing. Read that. I couldn't see it, but I think.
She said, I don't think respect develops overnight, especially a point of extreme. That's where all bets are off. If a child is bluntly disrespectful, there was already that in some shape, form, or fashion. They may smell themselves a little bit, but was raised a raised child can be reality checked and nipped in the bud. Child can be nipped in the bud.
Yeah. Get what you're saying. Get what you're saying with that one. What do you think about that for a top 5?
Okay, we can rock that.
And I think we're gonna keep notes of ours and try and check in on ourselves throughout the year.
Okay.
I like that one.
You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Well, shoot. About to do top 5 right now.
Yeah, man.
Let's ride.
We getting better. We getting better.
So I'm gonna do a top 1 because my top 5 originally, but I like Jae Tea's. So we're gonna do a top 1 and then a top 5. All right. Top 1. Your number 1 Christmas song of all time. Your number 1 Christmas song of all time.
Yeah, I already know mine.
Number 1 Christmas song. What's your number 1 Christmas song?
Well, I'm from Atlanta. So, you know what I'm going to have to go with? Quad City DJs.
Quad City DJs.
What you want for Christmas?
What you want for Christmas?
So
Well, I pumped that on my video promotions this week for the club.
You sure did. I looked at that thing, man, and couldn't get out of my head. Everywhere I went in the house, I was singing that
I
thing.
want a little bit of that.
Yeah.
I want a whole lot of this, and I want
A whole lot of that.
That's all I'm saying.
Fanny, what's your top one?
What is it? The one with the Temptations.
Yeah.
It's better than Mariah Carey. Mariah Carey done threw me off for the rest of my life. I don't want to hear her voice ever again.
She said ever again.
If you check my Facebook, you'll see a white lady. She walking towards a record player, and she picks up the record and breaks it. But while she's walking toward the record player, I edited that I don't want to love for Christmas. So when she takes it off and then she breaks it, I'm like, I don't want to hear it ever again. So it's gonna be the classic, the one by the Temptations. I love it. Like, I don't even really celebrate Christmas, but when I hear that song, it kind of make you feel like warm and fuzzy, kind of take you back. So it'll be that song.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. What you got, Teasy?
Hey, Silent Night, bro.
Silent Night.
Period. That's the only Christmas, other than listening to that on your advertisement. That's the only Christmas song that I heard this year. And the reason I heard it is because I played it myself. Like I said, I wasn't listening to the radio a lot this year, so I didn't hear a lot of Christmas songs. But that one right there, I had to hear it.
All right. I like I don't know the name of it, but the chestnuts roasting on an open fire. Yeah. Jack Frost snipping at your nose.
Nat
King Cole.
Yeah.
There you go. Nat King Cole. That's my joint.
Well,
all right. Top 5.
Hold up. When he get that high note.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Night. What? And then my man come back with that D.
Holy night. Yes, sir.
I'm getting chills. I'm getting chills right now.
Temptations on BET this weekend. I watched it too.
Yeah, they played it a couple times.
Played a couple times.
All over again.
I saw it 4 times.
Ain't nobody come to see you. Otis. Leon played.
Yeah, they had the breakdown between the Temptations. Oh boy, as a Temptation, oh boy, the 5 Heartbeats said, who did it better? Hey, Leon, who did it better?
Rossi said, now y'all black folks, y'all know black folks' top song is anything by the Temptations.
Anything by Temptations, right? Too funny. All right, top 5, y'all. All right, this is a good one here. You gotta really think about this one too. Top 5 changes you are planning for the new year. Top 5 changes you're planning for the new year. Well, go ahead and get the microphone to Phoenix since she's ready to start. She already started.
I ain't playing no games. I ain't playing no games at all. Sheesh. One, my credit's already good, but I want it at 820. Like that's like non-negotiable. Working out at least 5 to 6 times a week. Yes, I said it.
All right, now listen. Now understand.
Kiki, you got Quad City DJs too.
We here, Classic Conversations are going to be checking up on each other.
Please do.
Okay, all right.
Bring that.
All right, so when you working out, you got to tag
That's
us
funny.
on whatever and let us know.
I ain't graduated 85.
I take my phone to listen to music. I'm not the Instagram model like you see the little bit of sweat. No, I get in it.
Yeah,
Like,
just tag it.
fur flying.
You ain't get no
I don't
pictures.
take no pictures,
Yeah,
no
we
nothing.
just want to see it. We want to see it.
You can ask Ben too, cause you see he's steady going down. What's that? My meditation. I want it to be like, cause I already meditate for probably 30, 45 minutes. I want to do it for like an hour, maybe hour and a half. It just gets me to a balanced state, and I can deal with everything. Before I started meditating, it was a situation where I would like literally blow up at everything. Like, oh my God! Like I was super emotional. So when I started meditating, when I say everything came to a complete lull, and it was like, things aren't that serious. Let it go. And it was like, it's perfect. So if I feel like if I do an hour and a half, I'm not gonna be touchable. I'm gonna be literally untouchable for the rest of the year. Yeah. So no worries with that. My line and my brand, I want to get that off the ground and running with Being Selfish Matters, and it's a lifestyle. It's not something that you just wear. You literally have to have a mindset, and not to the negative degree, but people need to understand that there's nothing that you can give until you have something
I'm about
to
to say
give.
you have it. Yeah.
you know. And for forever, I was one of those people that would give, and I would have nothing to give, but I would find something to give. Until I realized that that's not what it's about. You literally have to take time for yourself, self-care, mental, spiritual, emotional, and physical. It has to be all in a line for you to even project yourself to where you're trying to go. And if you don't do it that way, it's not gonna get done. So that's 4. 5, travel a lot more with my husband.
Nice.
I'm out. I'm out. Like country, state, whatever. We out of here. You know, still do our work, but just enjoy life a whole lot more. Stop being in the city so much. It's not much here anymore. That's
what's
it.
up.
I'm
That's what's
out.
up.
But I'm already in next year, so y'all need to keep up.
Ah.
Hey
I heard
man,
that.
shout out real quick, my man Ron Godfrey just chimed in. Hey man, this dude, remember that name, Ron Godfrey. He's a dynamic actor for real. I mean, I'm an actor, but he's a dynamic actor, and to the point of he's really in. I mean, dude is a hell of an actor. Remember that name, seriously.
All right, Ron.
I see you, Ron. Just letting you know.
What you got, Dwayne?
Well, okay. I guess 5 is 5 would be give people the same energy that they give you. 4, be more punctual. That's something I've been working on for a while, but it's like you said, 2023 years my year with that. 3, consistency in all facets of life. Dependability, number 2, in all facets of life. And last but not least, the ability to have tough conversations with people I love, both ways. Them having tough conversations with me, and me having tough conversations with them, in order to, progress our relationships. I think that we lack that as a community. We lack that especially as men, having those tough conversations, that ultimately make you more accountable, make you more, respectful, make you more intelligent and, knowledgeable in everything that, your surroundings. And I think that you can affect your bubble with tough conversations. You know what I'm saying? So I think that that's what I want to have for New Year.
All right. What you got, Teasy?
Hey, you grabbed 2 of mine, Dwayne. Being more punctual. Got to work on that. My wife is gonna love that one. Yeah, being more punctual. Getting more rest. Yeah, getting more rest. Just because I work from home don't mean I need to stay up to 2:30. Cutting back, and this is going to be all into one, but it's cutting back on the alcohol and the cigars. The alcohol part, I've recognized that it's easier than what I thought, since I was able to do it when I was on the diet. The cigar part is going to be hard. That one is going to be hard, but I want to cut back on both of those. The meaningful conversations with people. Yeah, the meaningful conversations with people. And I think the last one, I had a couple more, but I think the last one I want to use for tonight, being how do I word it? Having more connection with people. In other words, like when I'll plan on calling somebody and then put it off to the next day. Doing better at that, and within the same one, returning phone calls. And answering them too, but yeah, it's that I'm bad at that, and I used to use the excuse, and it was a good excuse. I talked on the phone for a living when I was in sales. I didn't like talking on the phone if it wasn't making me no money. But with the age of me and family members and friends and people leaving this earth the way they are at the high rate, just I don't want. It's happened way too many times. I don't want to think about, damn, I was going to call him too, or I was going to call her also just to check, that type of deal. So, yep, those are mine. Those are mine.
All right.
That don't mean for Classic Conversation to call me and test me out if I'm answering the damn phone.
That's funny. That's funny. All right, DC says, cut dead weight, leave the past in the past, be mentally stable, give people their flowers while they're living, and love life to its fullest. And come home to the wave. Shot wave on 3. 1, 2, 3, wave.
Look what Nick said on my thing. Answer your phone more.
Yeah. Hilarious. All right, Kiki she said, my changes started last year, however, improved credit score, more credit card discipline, 2 solo trips, forgive more, and making more time spent with my family that's outside of my household. My mom got to stay healthy, stay in the word more, stay in touch with family more, listen more, spend more time with grandchildren, and love life. All right. Yeah. I'm going to start with my number 1 goal is to get back on my meal plan to lose some more weight. Number 2 coincides with that, to get back to a true 3 to 4 day a week workout habit, which I got to get back on. I started already. I rode my bike 2 days in a row. Real happy with myself. I feel so much better when I get a 20, 30-minute workout in, man. Just the whole day just feels like it functions differently.
Crazy, right? Bro.
Nothing like it,
but
right?
It's so hard to actually go do it. But then after you do it, you be like, man.
How do you do it, man?
What was my problem of not wanting to do it?
Because I can talk myself out of a workout
quick,
so fast. Yeah, man. Number 3 would definitely be, I don't like to necessarily travel, but I do like to get away every now and then. So, a couple more little, nice little trips. Number 4, I need to get back to what my man Deion Sanders always said, the most powerful word, no. Get back to saying no. No is okay. It's a complete sentence, ain't it? No.
How about that? It's a complete sentence.
Just say no. And number 5, I guess, would be the old classic of just, making sure that live life to its fullest. Because once you get to these ages, teasing, when you regularly recognize you got more days behind than in front of you,
Boy.
when you start seeing folks leaving this earth on a regular basis at a young age, you know, because, you know, when you're 20, you know, they call us OGs, you know what I mean?
Right.
And you be like, oh, gee. I remember the first time, I was like, oh, gee, who you talking to?
Took a long time for me to just go
Really accept that,
to reach back and say, what's happening, bro? What's up, young buck?
Yeah, but to make sure that we live life to its utmost, to its fullest. And that's it.
All right, hold up. They didn't give top fives, but I got some that gave some. Ron said, stop having high expectations from low-performing people. Woo, boy.
That's a mouthful.
You said something there, man. Ben said, grow longer facial hair. Become a vegan / become a better swimmer.
Who said vegan? Ben?
Yeah.
The real master?
/ vegan /
Slash? Okay. Really? That's funny.
He said, become a better swimmer and grow his garden.
Okay.
Brian Davis said, no is also an answer, too.
I like that.
And it's something else I admire about Ron. He lost his son on November 1st.
God bless you, brother.
And he said it made him realize even more that life is truly short.
God bless you, brother.
It lasts months with that. We kind of lived it with him. And then to see him accept some best actor, awards after that, and dedicated and speak to his son while he was on the stage. Powerful. Appreciate you, brother.
It's a fraternity nobody wants to be in. My heart is always with you on that one, brother. Had a conversation with a guy at Walgreens. Just unloaded. Old dude, you know what I mean? He's 70, he said he was 78, 79 years old. He was telling me how he lost his 34-year-old son and his daughter. We just got talking, and, it's the fraternity nobody wants to be in. You know what I mean? No matter the age, no matter how old the person is, you ain't supposed to bury your child. So, God bless you, brother. But on that note, Teasy, I'm going to say, close out. We talk about mental health a lot. I told this young lady before the podcast I was going to bring it up. Mental health is real. Find somebody to talk to. I had an unfortunate text message from her the other day, and the message said, "This will be the last time you hear from me. I'm going through something that not even looking at my kids can get me out of. You've always been kind. When I came in there to do a show, you opened the doors, and I wish there's more people like you, and take care of something that makes." And I read that message, and I was like, I froze. I was brushing my teeth, and I stopped, and immediately called, and somebody else responded and said she just attempted to commit suicide. And she sent the message to me around 6:30 in the morning. I didn't get it till around 9:10, and John was just deep. It was just really, really deep, and I had to. So I talked with her this evening, and she was telling me some of the things she was going through, and I was like, I'm just glad to be to have this conversation with you. But next time don't text me. You know what I mean? You need somebody to talk to, call, because she was like, even to this day, she's like, she's mad that she's still here. And I said, even after you looking at your kids again, so that's just,
wow.
That's just deep. That's really, really deep, and it's something I don't really know her, you know what I mean? Just met her a few times, and, but, take care of yourselves, man, and, this life is grand, no matter how much the struggle is. Being every day that you can walk and talk is a blessing. and don't ever take that for granted. So,
I'm gonna touch on it a bit. Also, I mean, we highlight mental health on this show. We highlight it. It's something I stand on, and my mental health. What really brought it to my attention wasn't anything that was going to have me committing suicide or hurting myself or hurting someone else, but it was still a mental health episode that I had, that I was living through. It changed. I didn't have it. I was living through it before I recognized that I actually had an issue. Right now it is something that's in the forefront. More athletes, more entertainers are speaking about it. So now people are actually acknowledging it now. It's always been there. And I think now so many people, it's said so much now that everybody think that what we're telling you is you need to go see a counselor. It's not what it means all the time. You probably should at some point, but believe it or not, mental health can be just like you was talking about meditating. I call it mental wellness. Finding a space for yourself to just release or just get away. And that doesn't mean getting on a plane, taking a trip. If you can do that, by all means, go for it. But if you can find yourself, I truly believe if you can find yourself each day, 30 minutes to an hour, to just disconnect in whatever way that makes you happy, whether it's reading a book, listening to music, walking, working out, whatever way. I mean, there's so many different things that you can, just think of something that you do where when you're doing it, that's all you're doing. You're not thinking about life and its stresses. If you can do that, it will help you so much. And then you might get to the point to where you can say, if that's helping me so much, maybe if I actually saw a counselor, it's going to help me even more. Or seek counseling, it's going to help me even more. I've been accepting a mantra that I heard on a stage play, God Guys, creating a space to feel and heal. I actually want to start creating that space more for men. Not something that I'm going to post out, it's going to be a big meeting, but just some people that I know sometimes, man. Just say, hey, man, let's get together and just talk. And, whatever we getting together for, if it's just going to play ball, if it's going to have a drink or whatever, but just being able to get together and just talk. And sometimes you never know, just like he just said, this young lady he just met, let it out to him. You never know when somebody is going through something. It just so may happen that you reach out to somebody and you created that space. So, like I said, we talk about mental health a lot on this show, and I don't want to say don't get counseling, but I'm also telling you that there's other ways to actually give yourself a wellness check, to help yourself get through, and it doesn't cost a thing usually. So, I hope we all can go into this new year. Everybody's had some crazy losses, crazy things that's happened this year, and you had to get through it. And some of us don't even realize, but we haven't got through it. We've kind of like put it to the side because we had to keep dealing with life itself. But you don't want it to come up at the wrong time. Just like we sitting there talking about our children. You don't want it to come up when you're having a conversation with your child and now it comes up and you react in a way that you shouldn't. So these are the type of things that you have to think about when you hear the word mental health. It doesn't mean that you have to go seek counseling right now. And again, I'm not downplaying counseling, but everybody ain't ready to go to counseling. You have to be ready to go. Can't nobody make you go, because if somebody make you go to counseling, you're not going to receive it. So you have to prepare yourself to go to it. So, give yourself the mental wellness check every now and then. Like I said, 30 minutes to an hour a day. You can't tell me you can't find it in your day. You can find it. To just, like I said, just step back from it. Occupy your mind with either stillness or occupy your mind with something that makes you happy to where you're not thinking about the stresses in life. I could go on and on and on. And hold on, I got a couple of comments that came through. Oh, that's dope. Ron just put out there, and he has a book out. It's called Crying Out in the Dark, his autobiography. And my man Rossi actually just said, man, I'm gonna buy your book on Amazon.
That's what's up.
He said that his son suffers from depression and mental illness, and he's always wanted to be an actor, so I'm sure your book will be great for him. That's dope. Your Classic Konversations doing that thing.
How about that?
Doing that thing. Hey, Ron, we're going to have you up on the show, man. I just hope you can deal with the cigar smoke. Yeah, hey, Rossi, reach out to Ron, bro. If y'all not friends, reach out to me and I'll get y'all connected. And I think that's gonna do it for this year. How about
This
that?
year. The last
How
show of
about
the year.
that?
2022.
How about that? Woo, we got some stuff in store for y'all next year too, man. I promise you. Shameless plug. It ain't shameless. I got to do it. Shell of a Man. We talking about stresses in men. Stage play, Shell of a Man, from the brainchild of Tina Bridges, January 8th. It's not sold out, but they're going fast. I think she has some VIP tickets that left. But it's going to be a great show. It's basically 7 men with 7 issues that affects their loved ones. And it's unscripted. It's something that we speak on, some certain things that we've studied and figured out how this actually affects people, and we act it out on stage. We do a monologue at the end of each one. The play is not long. It's about an hour and 10 minutes maybe. And then after that, we'll have a Q&A. Where you can ask some questions, and hopefully you never know. None of us are professionals, but you just never know that an answer that comes across may help you out. So January 8th, it's going to be in Marietta at the Highlight Studios. So to get the tickets, basically put in Shell of a Man 2023. It'll pop up for you right there on Eventbrite. I think that's going to do it for me. What you got, bro? You got anything to close out with?
Good, man. Let's do our cheers, 2022.
Hold up, man.
Classic Conversations.
Hold on.
All right.
Here's a little drink.
And drink.
See, I already started cutting back because usually on this show, this would have been gone.
Yeah.
Gone.
Classic Conversations, man. 2022. It's been real.
Yes, sir. And we out. You dig?
With Jae Tea and Lo, you never know which way to rap. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap. The record's gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap. The record's gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap. The record's gonna go. It's classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap. The record's gonna classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way to rap. The record's gonna go. It's classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know.